right, guys, it's Cleveland Moto Podcast number 347. Light them up, boys. There we go. It's like,
ooh, that was a hot one.
Look, I mean, if you're not happy with 75 degrees,
October 14th,
something
15th
or other,
something.
Yeah, October 14th, and it's 75 degrees. It's not, chasing mosquitoes away. It's not Camp Swampy. It's like a bonus day.
Call that a win.
Yeah. I mean, the Californians call this period of time Indian summer because it gets warm. It gets warm again for them after it got chilly. For us, we've always called it Indian summer when I was a kid growing up. I don't know where we were stealing the idea from. But thanks, boy. Hey.
Didn't.
Yeah, your trailing throttle turned into cheap fireworks.
Hey, I got breaking news.
You got breaking news.
Our good buddy Vulcan Scooter Dan.
Yes, we like Vulcan Scooter Dan.
He just sent, please tell Phil I just came up with the name for his camping rally.
Oh, boy.
Camp Phil yourself.
That's a good one.
I approve. Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's my Native American name is Phil McCrevis. Phil McCracken. There's a story. That name existed in my family. My grandfather's name was Homer McCracken Rogers. Fuck, man, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's a hard one. He's a tough guy, so it had a little bit of that Boy Named Sue to it. Yeah. He was a bit of a dick. So yeah, just ask my mom. So that's an interesting thing, talking about like camping rallies, because we're starting to get that. We got to get back out to the camp. We need to abuse some dirt bikes and burn some things.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah,
I'm ready.
Fuck, man. We're prime, man. We are prime.
we need it.
I'm going to Cedar Point tomorrow. Merritt took the day off to go to Hollow Weekends, so we'll be there for 12 hours, And but again, it feels weird doing a Hollow Weekends thing, but it's going to be like 75 degrees. So
it's a better time than being freezing your ass off.
Oh yeah, we've gone there in the past where it was fucking cold.
The only advantage to that, though, is that usually it's pretty dead.
Yeah, it keeps the people away.
Yeah, if you dress appropriately, it can be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So to my immediate left,
Oscar,
dude, where you been?
working.
Yeah, working. Yeah, I know our podcast listeners are chiming in. They're like, "Where's Oscar?"
I'm still around.
Yeah, they thought we might have fired you. We're gonna have to have Chris Franklin come back for another one though. So today before our podcast, Steve and I kind of dropped the bomb on Oscar. We have a AV or a tech.
Oh yeah.
We have a tech fabricator thing we want to do. We own a 90s video game. So a ride-on video game, which is like a motorcycle that you ride and the whole thing. And I bought it, and it works, but it's janky. It's lived a hard life, and the soundboard doesn't work, so you got to make your own noises. But one of the bikes that you can choose to ride is a fucking Vespa.
Oh, nice!
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
and but it's it's not great. So we had this idea that the new gaming system has an Isle of Man game that looks like you're watching TV.
It's what is it? It's the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And it's Ride 4.
Ride 4, yeah.
And they have dirt bikes,
Looks
all
so
the stuff, and then they have the Isle of Man TT. And
My God.
I honestly thought that they were lying. I thought that they just put footage from a fucking thing. And
I was watching it and I was like, that guy's going to crash. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was a video game.
But the funny part is in that thing though, when we were going over and you guys were telling us about going there.
Yeah.
The exact place, that bar.
Yeah,
he mauled himself and hit the fucking wall.
He
of
went
the
into the
bar.
wall to Raven. It's an important thing you don't do.
Yeah.
So we had this idea that we're just going to take old technology, gut it, and replace it with modern technology.
Yeah.
Right.
Brilliant
And so
idea.
the funny thing was, after telling Oscar about it today before the podcast, with no warm up at all, I completely sprung it on him because this is right up his fucking alley.
Fucking Oscar, man.
And within 30 seconds of me telling him what the idea was, he'd already been like, okay, well, this is how it's going to be. And it was like, I was like, okay, we got the right guy on our team.
Because you want to keep all the motorcycle controls and the lean. All that has to stay the same.
Yeah.
But
We
you
basically-
integrate it into the PS5.
Yeah, we got to retrofit a gaming controller, take it all apart, and make all the things on the motorcycle do the things on the gaming controller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then because the gaming controllers have inertial things
gyroscope,
in them,
yeah.
gyroscopes and stuff. We'll put that in the bike to make
It'll
it
have
lean.
to. It'll have to live inside. Yeah.
The controller
inside the
lives inside the chassis of the bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
that's so good.
yeah, but other people have figured out ways to add things to that controller, so it can't be
Yeah.
that hard to add a peripheral.
No.
and I
you
think
can buy driving simulators and flying simulators.
that's what I'm
and
saying. Like they
sex
have wheels
simulators.
that you can plug in. That would be the thing to do, is to buy a wheel that works with it, and then just take the potentiometers out of that.
Already have it in my.
He's already.
Yeah,
He's already.
Sorry, yeah.
If you don't
it was
think
that was the one I was looking at. Yeah, because they sell like
The hardest
wheels,
thing is
like-
going to be the PS5 and the game and buying the game probably.
Oh yeah, we're not getting that till like February, and before
Right.
Christmas that ain't happening.
Yeah, but and then the other, and then of course the final thing is there's a button on the dashboard that is to select your music on this thing, and that's going to be for the fleshlight. Speaking of fleshlight, our new sponsor for Cleveland Moto is Fleshlight. That's it. No, it's not Fleshlight. We'll get to that.
Throw that old happy sock away.
That's exactly right.
Well, now they have 5 options too. You have 5 different ports, including an alien mouth and an alien something.
Wow.
Wait, what's that other thing?
The one thing I saw was the mater from like the Cars thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where it
Oh,
looked
yes.
like a tow
Oh.
truck with the mouth. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, and to his left,
Sleepy.
and Sleepy rode here today from work
I did on my Triumph.
on your trumpet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is now legally legal.
Okay, we're going to talk about that because
Yes.
that's some fucking shit right there.
Yeah, yeah.
To take a salvage title and it be no longer salvage.
Right.
That's a major accomplishment right there. So cool. And then to his left,
Dan Kromke.
Dan showed up again on the Triumph tonight. Yep, he showed up and it was funny. He didn't have his helmet off yet, and I was kind of yelling at him to just jump on the Husqvarna. And he's like, "No, it's too hot out. I got to chill out for a second."
It was hot on the way
Fucking
here.
warm out there
Yeah,
if
it
you're on
was.
a bike today.
Yeah.
And then to his left,
Johnny Mac.
and did you work today, or you run on this like long string of days off?
No, I worked today.
You did work today?
I had 4 days off, and then I worked this whole week.
Damn it, man, must be tough.
I sat on a mower all day today.
Really?
It was bad. I don't mind.
It's a good day. I mean, that's
Yeah.
again, that's for guys like me, mowing a yard is cheap meditation.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
There you go. Perfect. Right. What kind of mower you got there, bud?
It is. I think it's a John Deere 485, a very large.
I was going to say that is
Like-
more than a yard tractor.
It's a yard. It looks like a yard tractor
Yeah.
on steroids.
It's
bro.
just a big fucking.
I think
yard
it's
tractor.
60-inch deck,
Yeah.
hydrostatic drive.
Does it have implements?
It could, and
Hey, there's a high ace just pulled up. Speaking of weird Japanese shit.
yeah,
Good.
Yep, there
Break
comes
that
Mr.
down for
Hoffer.
him.
but it's smooth as butter. It's got a Kawasaki motor in it and everything,
Yeah.
and it's like go. I mean, like I don't know how many acres we mowed today, but a lot.
A lot
I
of
mean,
fucking
like,
acres, yeah.
And it looks beautiful. It cuts really well.
Oh, that's cool. You know what? Good equipment, right?
I gotta be. That's something I gotta find for next year for that new pad is a thing. So
You are going to be hunting for a fucking mower.
Zero turn. Yep.
but
today-
I know some guys that might know how to fix them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the first thing about mowers or fireplaces.
My pride. And to his not so immediate left is your humble narrator, Phil Waters. And it looks like, we got Steve here and Kit's here. Hello.
Late
So-
arrivals.
Yep. We like late arrivals. We'll take them any way we can get them. So today my goal, one of my little side project today, after a couple of different things I was working on for shop business, was I wanted to find a snow plow for my Subaru Sambar.
Oh, good luck.
Oh.
I would just go with like a lawnmower one
So there's a company that makes,
or an ATV one.
dude, these things are so fucking cool. They make them
I get.
and they literally slide into a standard class 3 receiver hitch.
Perfect.
Really?
with a handheld remote control, and instead of using hydraulics to raise the blade and do all that shit,
Yeah.
it actually has an electric linear actuator motor, so it can put
Oh.
600 pounds of downforce on the blade.
Oh wow.
Super
that's
cool. Steve, you're mic'd up, ready to rock and roll?
Am I here?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
you
here.
are.
Are you
Okay.
literally on the road back from New York right now?
We got back and I had to do plants.
Oh,
And you know why.
yeah.
Patrick. Damn you.
God damn it. Oh. They said the cobbler's son has no shoes, and apparently the wastewater treatment son leaves work for his father.
I think the kid that just drove by, that was a newer Triumph. That might have been the Asian kid that we saw when we went up to see the bikes. He cruised by. I thought he was. I told him if he sees us out here on a Thursday night, stop by.
Yeah, he was super cool, and that's a bobber, right? The Triumph bobber.
Triumph bobber.
It's a good looking bike. It has like beach cruiser bars on it. It's
nice.
really it's fucking
Very
nice.
cool.
My daughter's friend was riding his electric bike
Yeah.
at full tilt on Detroit Road where there's a construction.
Yeah.
And he bought it and broke his arm.
On an electric bicycle.
On an electric bicycle.
Oh, what do you think? 30 miles an hour?
Yeah, he says it does 35, but I would say no. I think they're speed limited to 29 miles an hour. So.
Different ones. I mean, we've found all kinds of the ones that people have tried to get us to sell that are like, this is restricted to 29 miles per hour. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And you're like, oh, because the gauge goes up to 29 and then it just stays there, but you can feel the bike still accelerating. Yeah.
Oh, and look what Nick sent us.
Nick sent us. Oh, is that a little Oscar? It's a little Oscar. The little Oscar cooler. Look that shit up. I didn't know that Nick that it manifested itself.
No, we have two of them.
Oh, you already had them?
We love Oscars so much. We have like pictures of them around our house. And
I thought you and Nick finally figured out the teleportation machine and he sent it out to you.
Yep. Could be.
I only have a picture of Oscar in the bathroom. That's
Just one.
Shit.
Yep. He is a.
Oh, and Piper rated Oscar as the best, most attractive podcaster.
She's not wrong.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a reason they call him the romantic Hispanic.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Piper that.
He's the only one that deserves to be on the video.
She wanted to do something weird, and she was going to have me bring one of her little gummy snacks and give it to one person.
Oh my God.
Like, okay.
Well, it is funny because the background of my Gmail, if you look, the background of my Gmail is literally, we took it when we were at Pulpetta. So it's a picture that we took at Pulpetta. So the background of my Gmail for years has been Oscar, Colleen, Renee, and myself in one of those long arm selfie shots. But it's been there for ages. And it's really funny because people are like, oh, your background, who the hell are those people? And I was like, well, that's Oscar. That's my friend Colleen and my friend Renee and myself. And so I was like, yeah. And it's not creepy at all. No. Everyone has a picture of Oscar on their computer because he's fucking cool looking. So, yeah. So elephant in the room time. It's right there in front of us. A customer traded in this Husqvarna 401 Vitpilen, right? So Vitpilen, it means silver arrow, by the way. That's the translation.
Maybe that's what those metal rods were under the seat.
Maybe they're silver arros.
You screw on a broad tip?
Yeah, put a broad tip on it, get your little crossbow out, and stab.
kill werewolves.
Yes, exactly. This bike came into us, and it was the previous owner was a very 5'2" female, maybe 125 pounds kind of thing. So it has the purple spring on the shock, which is kind of what they call like a 200-pound type spring. And that's sort of what it's meant to carry. And it is.
After I rode it, it's probably more like a 150.
Yeah, it's definitely not built for the size podcasters we have here. The bike was lowered in the triple clamps to give it a lower seat height and stuff like that. So we got that back up to the height it's supposed to be, cranked a whole bunch of preload into that purple spring. And basically for me, getting to know the bike, I tend to set the bikes up real soft. So the bike would be softer than you'd ever want it to be set up for any kind of riding aggressively. It's just too squishy. But for around town, it eats up the bumps and you don't feel it. And it doesn't hurt your balls or anything else. But I wanted everybody to get a chance to ride this tonight. So Steve, if you want to go out and ride it right now, you can go out and ride it. It's cool. It's got gas in it. It's ready to go.
Will I hate it as much as the KTM?
So this is the trick. It has the same motor as the KTM, but its riding position is a true, honest-to-God, real cafe racer, whereas the KTM was like some weird, it wasn't a super motard, it was weird. It stuck your balls.
I would not guess that is the same motor.
Right, exactly. This motor feels much happier than the motor did in our KTM, and, these bikes are both in the same generation, of each other. So,
I had no idea that the price was $11,597.
It's not.
That's what it says right here.
Not for a Vitpilen 401.
Yeah.
No.
What does it say? Maybe it's a different country. I didn't see where.
Yeah, I think maybe you're looking right.
That's rupees.
Did you say roofies?
It's roofies.
Either way,
That's right up Steve's alley.
They're 40. Hey, Steve, it's $49.99.
All right, so this must be a different country.
Right. It's $49.99.
I'm still trying to find the fucking metal rods under the seat thing. I cannot find what the fuck those things are.
What they're for.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit just background for people that have never ridden one or are curious about it. It's crazy lightweight. I mean, it is a very, very lightweight bike. Anywhere you look on it, trying to figure out what it weighs, it's 335 pounds, 330 pounds, whatever, which is very light for any motorcycle. That's very light. It runs 110/17 on the front, 150/17 on the back. It's got a lot of suspension travel, except for when John's riding it. And it's they claim it's got a 32-inch seat height, which of course that's pretty fucking tall, for people who are not long of the leg. It's 44 horsepower, depending on who you ask, and 27 or so pounds foot of torque.
So this one hasn't been dropped. It's just the suspension was changed to a lighter one, right?
What was happened with this is it had been dropped in the front triples.
Oh, so it did.
So it had an inch out at the front triples, which I put back in.
Oh, okay.
So it had an inch in the front triples, which I put back in, and then it had that purple spring, the soft spring installed, which is a progressively wound spring, but it's a softer spring, and then the preload on that was dumped out. So I dumped in a whole bunch more preload.
Okay.
So I basically did a static suspension setup on the bike for me.
Okay.
And that it's on the soft side of a static setup for me, right? And then, obviously your mileage may vary. Now I've decided I'm going to put the white spring back into it because, believe it or not, this bike is meant to hold two humans. Oscar and I together, Oscar and I proved that may be asking a lot of this motorcycle.
No two.
Maybe, again,
in an emergency, you can't put someone on the back.
Right.
There's sort of some cushion.
Wait, maybe that's what the rods are. They come out the back, and that's where the second person sits.
Those are built-in sissy bars to keep you from sliding over the taillight so people can still see the taillight.
Yeah.
I can't believe how peppy that little thing is, man. It's a pretty peppy bike.
It is.
Keep your ass cheeks from covering up the...
Yeah.
When you're sitting on this bike and you squeeze your knees together, you think your knees are going to touch. Yeah. Because it's the skinniest motorcycle I've ever ridden. I mean, this is the same width between your knees as like a Kimco Spade. Like, the bike couldn't be skinnier. Like, they really did.
I'm going to
tell that to the passport rider over here.
Yeah, right. Where you can actually touch your knees and step through. But aside from a step through, this motherfucker is skinny.
I'm going to put out a call to all listeners. If you find a wrecked 401 Vitpilen with a good motor, let us know, because that motor is the perfect swap for a TNT 135, man. That's going to be a ridiculous bike.
This motor, because I haven't adjusted the dashboard from break-in period yet, so the warning light, the shift light comes on at 7,000 RPM, which is break-in, right? Would anyone like to guess what its maximum horsepower of 44 horsepower, at what RPM that showed up?
12.9. That's right?
8,800.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so at 8,800. But I got to say, driving this thing and shifting it at 10K is like the butter zone. It's just like a TNT 135.
So what's supposed to be the top speed on this thing?
I got, this morning coming into work, I recorded on video 109 miles per hour, and at 109, I think if I would have made myself a lot smaller, I might have squeezed a little bit more out of it, but it really didn't act like it wanted more.
I bet you Oscar could get 115.
I'll bet he could. Yeah. There's no doubt. I'm a big person. I punch a big hole in the wind. Yeah. And that bike has no aerodynamic shielding whatsoever.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So I don't know what the actual top speed is, but the point being, it's fucking fast enough.
And with the seating position, to actually tuck yourself, you'd have to do a Superman and put your balls over the tail light and have your feet straight out the back to actually lay down on it.
Yeah, it's a weird, it's a very, very committed, like the riding position.
Yes.
There's nothing adjustable about those handlebars.
No.
Nothing. That is the way they are.
It's definitely a put it in neutral and sit up at the stoplight kind of deal.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, they did make a bike called the Smartpilen. Yeah. And the Smartpilen is different. So the Smartpilen is, it's got a proper handlebar riser. So it's got, it's actually got, that's the Svart, SVART, which I think is the gold arrow. I think this is the silver arrow, and I think the Svartpilen is the gold arrow.
I mean, this doesn't even have clip-ons. It literally just has things growing out of the fucking forks.
Yeah, it's all one casting. So like the entire top triple is the casting for the bars. So you can't adjust them forward or aft or up or down or anything. That is the riding position that Husqvarna gave you.
Any position you want, as long as it's that one.
Exactly. Now,
Wait, so how much is this thing?
oh, you mean what does it cost?
Yeah.
$4,999.
So why is anybody buying a Grom? Serious.
It's, again, I'm not kidding when I tell you, it doesn't, it's an unusual amount of $4,999, $4,999, right? $5,000.
How much is a Grom? They're like $4,400. The
You know,
new one is
the
like
new one.
4,400
Yeah.
or
The new
something.
one, yeah.
I'd like to make a comment, though, about those handlebars, because I could swear I've seen things
Yeah.
where it's like a nub that would go in there.
Yeah.
And then a plate that goes into it that you could actually have. You could get some adjustment by putting a different set of. I've seen bars where it's a tube and then a nub that goes in there, and then so that it would
Like
adjust.
a bicycle.
Yeah.
Well,
Like a right angle.
Or you
It's
could
like a
make
right
some-
angle, right? Like a.
yeah, I mean, it's just a tube. It's like
Right.
a short tube
Yep.
with then your long tube with a little bar in between them.
So this
So
doesn't.
it would be a riser.
Right. This doesn't have that because the handlebar shafts on this
Yeah.
don't go into a clamp.
Oh,
It's a trip. Yeah.
so they're not even clamped in there.
No.
No, they're cast into there.
Well, what happens if you dump it?
You got to buy a new part, I guess.
Okie dokie.
You'd have to buy the whole top of the triple tree.
I have not gotten that up close and personal with it, so I may be wrong.
So those don't actually clamp in there.
Well, somebody could stand up and check.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm looking
A
at
few
it,
more
bro.
dinners,
I'm
and we'll
looking
get
at
it to take the shirt off. But right now,
right. For right now, you're good to go.
It might have a bolt like an Allen head in the end.
So the
maybe.
could be the Grom is $33.99.
Oh.
So the Grom's $33.99.
Yeah, but here's the thing: everybody that gets one puts $2,500 into it, trying to make it go 80 miles an hour, and this fucking thing goes 100 from the thing. And when you finally get a Grom to go 80 miles an hour, it's on 10-inch wheels and it's scary as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going 110 on or 109 on this, and it didn't feel scary at all. There's nothing scary about it. You know, it's fine. There was a little bit of a head. It was a funny little head shake. That, you know, I mean, I don't know what it was, but it, you know, at that speed on this lightweight of a bike, I'm not shocked.
Things happen.
And there's no.
What's that?
Things happen.
Yeah, and I mean, if you wanted to get into it and get into some infinitesimal tuning bounce, but you know that head shake, it wasn't a tank slapper; it was just a little wibble. You know, it was.
Well,
it was
there's no
minor.
shield. It's just you.
Right, exactly.
So
right,
And
There's a lot
the brakes work like a motherfucker.
God, the brakes work good. This bike has ABS on it, and the ABS is one of those systems that, like, it's not going to get involved unless you're literally crashing. So the ABS let me park the front wheel and get the ass end about 6 inches in the air before the front ABS said, "Oh, that's a stoppie."
Yeah.
And then it kind of like da-da-da-da. So it basically landed the stoppie for me before the stoppie got anything more than 6 or 7 inches.
Nice.
Which is kind of like, hey, look, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of impressive.
I'll tell you what,
It's like the Gestapo.
The Gestapo.
I'd like to buy those rims for some other bikes I have, man.
Yeah, those
That's
are cool.
Really
Rims
cool
are
looking.
good.
But yeah.
And, you know, that is, you know, for that kind of money, which is, you know, it's short motorcycle money. And again, we're not saying that you have to buy one new and spend all of $5,000. These things have been out for a few years, right? You might be able to find a 2018.
Well, and it's funny because it's like a circular thing. So a lot of people buy these as beginner bikes,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, it's time to move on. But then you got slugs like us that have a bunch of bikes, and now we're coming back to
Yeah.
the small bikes. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, give me that thing.
Well, I can tell you, this is a lot more fun riding this into work than the ZX 1400R.
Yeah.
I will guarantee you, riding this into work this morning was way more fun than the ZX 14R.
Some of us are not coming back to small bikes.
Oh,
Some of them
you've never
never
left. Right. Yeah.
Good point.
No, but like we discussed before we started the podcast,
Yeah.
this bike with the motor that it has, the size that it is, and everything about it is the perfect tail of the Dragon bike.
It is.
Or like the 555.
Any
or
road that's
any-
a super techie road, yeah.
Yeah, because like it's small enough where like you don't feel scared.
I
Like,
took a GT 650 Hawk through the Dragon, and I was like, too much bike.
yeah.
Just too much bike.
Yeah.
You know? And I've taken a lot of, like, I took an RZ350 through it, and I was kind of like, that's pretty much the right bike. And this does, I mean, all the numbers, torque, horsepower, it's all more powerful than an RZ350. So, and it's lighter. So, what I did find interesting after riding it for the past few days and kind of putting a few miles on it, what I've realized is the term cafe racer has been molested, right? So the term cafe racer has become a snapshot in time where a cafe racer must look like it has Triumph DNA somewhere in it, right? At some point, the bike has to be British. At some point, like some influence of it is, in order to be called a cafe racer, it needs to be like a 1200 Thruxton. And there's no way in the world a fucking 1200 is a cafe racer. That's not what it's meant to be, right? 1200 is a very big, heavy bike. But my GB 500 that I love so much and enjoy so much has the exact same riding position as this bike. It's identical. Like, it's sitting on this and sitting on the GB 500 is exactly the same. And
probably torquier, though, I would think.
This is super torquey.
No, I'm saying that GB 500, it's not.
If I want to throw a wheelie on the GB 500, I look both ways. I spooled it up to maximum 500ness, and I drop the clutch. It's all clutch wheelie, right? I cannot power wheelie the GB 500. I have to cheat. This bike will power wheelie. It'll bump wheelie all day long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll bump wheelie.
If you revved it up, let off and blip it, you're coming up.
And again, happened a few times I wasn't planning for. There's something that happens in the ECU with this motorcycle at 6,000 RPM or so, where it just like unleashes the fucking hounds. So they've got the ECU set up in this bike so that if you keep the revs under 6,000, it ain't no big deal. It's like, oh, whatever. Yeah, sleepy, boring fucking CB350, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when it gets to 6,000 RPM, something happens radically. Some timing change happens, and it happens instantly, and the front end gets super light. I mean, it just, and I tried it with my weight completely on the handlebars doing drag racing launches. And it took me 5 or 6 launches to figure out that if I don't get my whole torso right up on that speedometer and I launch it full launch, as soon as I get through clutch slip and I'm onto that 6,000, it just fucking lights up and the front wheel gets super light. So this is a really bike. Like, I spent a lot of time in the Giant Eagle parking lot on this thing doing a whole lot of unnecessary wheelies. This is a really good wheelie bike for somebody who wants to go out and be a jackass. It's really good for that. Probably better than my DRZ 400 was. And, that's a bike that's kind of notorious for everyone's like, oh, super motard DRZ, whatever. Yeah. I'll wheelie this thing way easier than I wheelie a DRZ 400 SM.
And it sounds really good with that pipe.
Yeah, so it's got you're right. It's got an Akrapovic aftermarket pipe on it. So the cat's still there. They didn't get rid of the cat. But it does. The pipe gives it a little bit of personality. Yeah. So it does make the bike a little bit like, oh, yeah, all right. That's cool. So, yeah, it's neat. Anybody else have any comments after riding it other than your arms hurt?
I just was surprised at how peppy it was. I didn't think it was going to be that peppy. It feels like a bigger motor. It really does.
It does, yeah. It feels like a 650 single or a 600 single.
My only complaint was the low down, low range torque.
Yep.
It didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely needs a little bit of gas. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It doesn't you can't just dump the clutch and take off.
No, it doesn't have a heavy flywheel.
Yeah.
Right.
You definitely, but it's amazing once it, you give it the gas as soon as it hits $5 or $6 grand.
If you keep the thing over 5,000 RPM, it's going to do goddamn anything you want it to.
And I just wasn't really happy. Like, if you tried lugging it into gear, it wanted to jump on you a little bit. So it's not something. You're not going to take this thing, in fifth gear down to 20 mile an hour and back up to 60. No.
In the video, I was shooting this morning.
You need to shift.
That,
I got lucky this morning. Never happens. One time a year, I'm coming off the freeway at McKinley, and I caught the green light. So coming off the freeway on McKinley, and I actually caught the green right-hand turn light on the McKinley, which I never catch. And I was so excited I was going to catch the light. Well, I was in 6th gear. So what I normally do is I normally like drop a couple of gears and go. And I was still rolling at probably 45 miles an hour. So I dropped it 2 gears and then let the clutch out. And you're right, John. It did not like that.
Good.
I was lugging the motor at that point. So when I dropped 2 gears on that right-hander, I was already too slow for 4th gear, and it is not forgiving. It was like, fuck you, buddy. And it was like, it was a very amateur. Now, it didn't squeal a back tire or do something stupid like that, but it did give me a very amateur corner. I made sure that didn't happen when I made the left onto Rocky River Drive, which I caught the green light there too. Play the fucking lottery. Nobody's ever hit those two lights in sequence.
That's my game when I go to work. I try to hit every green light.
Oh man.
Once in like 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. I was so weird. I had the camera going and I was like, this never happens ever. You know, it's the weirdest thing. But it definitely likes, you know, it would rather be in second than fourth.
Our city causes us to waste so much gas, especially on Carnegie and these other roads.
Oh, yeah.
Where like there's no timing whatsoever. Like you have rush hour traffic, the light goes from green, you go 17 feet, and then there's a red light.
Yeah.
It's so
I come up
stupid.
150th every day, but at least those lights are set up that if nobody is waiting, they stay green. You know what I mean?
That would be awesome.
You can make it up 150th sometime as long as you stay on it and make it to the lights. You're good.
All right.
Well, that's the thing people could do to save energy and to save all this stuff.
Absolutely.
But they don't do it. Right. And Lakewood used to have a traffic engineer.
Yeah. Right.
And he had the stuff designed to do it that way.
You could go down Clifton if you stayed at 32 miles per hour on Clifton, where it's 35. But if you went 32, you'd catch every green for the entire fucking thing, from the west end of Cleveland or from the west end of Lakewood all the way to Cleveland, 20 some lights, and you'd catch them all green. But I think the magic number was 32.
Yeah, but they got rid of the guy because he was too. They didn't like what
They
really
got rid of him.
No, what sealed his fate was he like do you see the crosswalks that look like an X?
Right. Yeah.
If you hit the crosswalk button, then everybody walks at the same time, and it stops the traffic.
Right, yeah, the four-way stop.
Well, because it's more time efficient for somebody to do that.
Okay.
But they didn't like that, and so they made them get rid of the four-way, walks.
If you go to any major city, that four-way stop for the diagonal crossing it's everywhere.
Right, and I don't know why they don't do that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it is strange. Such a waste of fuel and everything, having people stop.
And you're right.
every 10 minutes.
And when you think, you're like, oh man,
We need more roundabouts in Cleveland.
absolutely, that's another good thing. But here,
Greene County's putting in a ton of those.
yeah, being here and watching a truck, have to go through 5 gears when it leaves that light and then has to stop there. That is probably not good for the environment.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did anybody hear that London's going to go to 15 miles per hour?
Yeah, I did.
What?
Yeah, so the city of London has proposed that they're going to make the speed limit for the entire London 15 miles an hour.
They're trying to encourage people to ride motorcycles, bicycles, and mopeds.
Like they don't have
and
enough
scooters.
traffic.
No shit. Oscar and I tried to get
fuck
through that.
people over.
We made the mistake of having an Uber because there's no way the train could have got us to our flight out of London.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to go from the city airport to Heathrow. And the only way we could have done it was what we did, which was get an Uber. But of course, the Uber route to get from city airport to Heathrow was, look, kids, Big Ben. Look, kids, Tower of London. And it was seriously
Through traffic. Yeah.
we're sitting in the back of this vehicle knowing we're going to miss our flight. And this Uber driver is doing, 1 mile per hour, right? But we're seeing every fucking thing that you would ever pay money to see on a London tour because the route that it had to take us through was so circuitous that it literally put us past every single tourist trap. And we're just sitting in the back dying. We're like, and we're going to miss that flight. Yeah. It was a very stressful Uber ride, which it should have been baller because we're like, it was like we had a private tour of London.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, so
15
miles per hour for the whole fucking city. That's weird, man.
In California said, you know what? We're going to one-up you. No grass cutters that are gas-powered.
Look, man.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was what I'd sent out.
You did.
Okay.
By 2024.
No new ones.
No new ones.
You're allowed to have your old ones.
Yes,
They'll drag on forever.
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean,
And I would think you'd still be able to get a used one or go to a different state. Would you be allowed to go to a different state
Why not?
and buy one and bring it in? I mean,
at some point, and I'm not saying what date it's going to happen, but if 2024 is going to be the day when you can't go to Home Depot and buy a gasoline-powered string trimmer, right? Or a gasoline-powered leaf blower.
or chainsaw.
Or a chainsaw, right? Now, I got to say, I agree with the gasoline-powered leaf blower.
But they're talking even like riding mowers and shit like that.
Exactly.
And they're
Well,
like
that's what are commercial? What are they gonna do?
Commercial like landscapers are like, what are we? It's going to cost us
yeah.
$20,000 to buy a battery powered, zero-turn mower.
Or you'll do the same thing that we've been doing in Ohio, which is driving vehicles that don't pass emission tests because they're over 25 years old. So guess what? Your 2023 John Deere just became worth more in California.
Well, yeah, and you know what's going to happen? It's going to be like Cuba. Like, they cut everything off. So, like, they started making parts for 57 Chevys.
Right.
There's a whole industry down there making fucking old parts for cars and stuff.
And then in 2040, that's when somebody's going to be in your driveway going, hey, buddy, that lawn boy, got to go.
Yeah.
It'll be like 2000. There'll be some cutoff when it's like you can't even get, historical plates for your lawnmower anymore.
Yeah.
But just think, you could move out to California in 2024, open
Right.
up your little small engine shop, make a killing. Everybody wants to keep their small engines going.
What's going to happen when all the antique plates in Ohio go to in 2050? They're all
2050.
Yeah.
Because
So-
nobody thought 2050 was ever going to get here.
no.
Yeah.
So are they going to say that we're not allowed to drive those cars anymore?
Well, again, I tend to look at that and go, I'll be 82. So
Have you watched the documentary by Rush called Red Barchetta? No. There's a song about they outlawed the cars, so now you're like an outlaw driving a fucking car.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when I'm 82 years old, if I'm still driving,
Yeah.
hang me up. Right? Come and get me, boys. Right? Whatever. I don't think we're to be.
When I'm 80, I'm going to fully embrace the autonomous cars.
So I mowed my yard. I've got a double yard. So my yard is twice as wide as a normal urban plot, right?
Yeah.
You guys have all seen my yard. So I borrowed an electric Ego lawnmower to try it, just to see what it's all about. Am I going to buy one of these things? Because I have kept my Craftsman Briggs and Stratton 22-inch deck, no assist, no nothing, mulching blade sharp as the devil himself kind of thing. Like, I've kept that thing on the fucking razor's edge of efficiency for 25 years, right? That thing does not have a problem. One pull every single time. But I wanted to see, because my father-in-law was like, I bought all these green, they're colored green. I bought all these green lawn implements. I got the leaf blower, I got the snow blower, I got all of it. He's got all the things, and they all use the same drop-in batteries.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a substantial investment. It's worse than getting in bed with Milwaukee tools, right? So I was like, I want to borrow it. So he brings the thing by the house and lets me go out and do my yard with it. Gotta say, in every possible way better.
Thank you, boys.
In every possible way better than using my gasoline lawnmower.
Really?
Like, it did the job better, was way easier to push.
Yeah.
It was completely self-propelled, even though it didn't need to be, which is hilarious. And goddamn near silent. Which, living in a neighborhood, my neighbor's lawnmower is running like open pipes. Right? I hate that guy's fucking lawnmower. And it runs, it's so out of tune. It's so, it's like a hit and miss engine, but at 9,000 RPM. It's completely like, you can't even relax because it's kind of like, it's like sleeping next to somebody who has sleep apnea.
Yeah.
You know? And then he's got to go start it again, whatever. And then you smell the bad gas and just like, oh, fuck me running, man.
I was in a conference room. I was having a meeting, and it was like the big guys from the company. They were talking about a project we have to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm facing the conference room. Just has the whole thing is just windows that overlooks the kind of complex that I work at.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of like the guy's just
Zoning
going
out.
on about sales or something.
Right.
It has nothing to do with me. So I'm just like looking out the window, watching birds and shit.
It's a meeting Elon Musk would have made you leave.
Yeah.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, in like the Pachysandras, this little hatch goes, and then this fucking dude goes, and it's a fucking robot lawnmower that's like 48 inches wide. It's,
What?
it's like this fucking big, man.
What?
And this thing's just like, and it goes, zzz, and it doesn't cut, like, it doesn't go around like this. It just fucking randomly goes all
What
over
are
the
you
place.
So
It's a commercial electric robot lawnmower.
Yeah, I mean, Husqvarna makes one, and they're expensive. They're
Oh,
like
it's like
5
10.
grand.
No, this thing's like
they've
10
been
grand.
around a while.
What?
They've been around a while.
I know, but I just didn't know. I mean,
and it's got
just,
wheels and it just
It's like it's no handles, nothing. It's like this little, it looks like a Roomba,
like
a
Mower
giant
Roomba?
fucking Roomba.
We live on the Death Star.
Yeah, it was fucking cool.
Oh, I fucking
so
love
I'm
that.
sitting there, and they must have noticed me because I think my mouth was like, huh? Like, and they were like, oh yeah, you never saw the mower. And I'm like, no, never saw the mower.
I never saw the mower.
It was cool.
A sentient fucking
But
lawnmower.
we
yeah.
also have, which is pretty cool. So you know, like the outdoor plants, like the big pots and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, to make it efficient, to put them all down,
Yeah.
they have robots. These
Yeah.
little fucking things go and drop them down and pick another one up and then drop them down. So like when they're filling up a greenhouse,
Yeah.
there's these little fucking robots running everywhere, just fucking putting plants all over the place.
There you go, man.
Fucking cool, man.
And you go down to Texas and there's little robots trying to get across the border so they can get jobs.
He took her germs.
Oh,
I'm gonna start looking closer. They probably got gang signs on
they
them.
probably do. Yeah,
rats and
exactly.
blues.
Yep, that's it.
You gotta
in the
keep them
wintertime,
separated.
in the wintertime, you go to the Mexican restaurant and all those robots are working there. If you live in here, if you live in Cleveland, you'll get the joke.
They finally figured out where all the fucking Modelo cans were coming out of the fucking bag of the robots.
It's exactly fucking hell. Oh, so the other day,
So MS-13 would make sense for robots.
yes, it would. Yeah, it would be digital.
Yeah.
Exactly. It would literally just be bits and bytes.
Yeah,
So the other day, I'm listening to our friends Misfits Podcast,
yeah.
and look, if we say some insensitive shit,
What did they get wrong this time?
exactly. If we say some insensitive shit, it kind of comes with the territory.
It's expected.
It's a
It's
motorcycle
right.
podcast. We are cisgendered people of a certain age and girth, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? That's why we have one female listener.
Right.
Okay. He's done the fucking. You've done that.
Yeah.
You've
We
done-
have one.
like, we're not making a blanket statement. Steve checked.
Yes.
A research was conducted.
Yeah.
But the point being, do you know what they said? Camaro.
Oh. Wow. Well done.
Oh, they stole our Camaro.
Wow.
Yeah.
They stole. Now,
Well, didn't that come about because of them though? Because you couldn't say it anymore.
well,
Yeah.
so along about podcast number 4 or 5, we were hanging out in the garage, and I know you were there,
Yeah.
and I know James was there because when I was listening to it and I heard him say Camaro,
yeah.
and I was like, they were like, oh, well, that's Super Camaro, and I was like, okay, it's one thing if Knock would have said it,
Yeah.
but Liza said it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a second, come on now.
You know what's
And then
gonna happen?
James is like, I was there when we invented that.
when's
Because
Halloween?
Shane.
Yes.
When's Halloween? Oh yeah. So Shane, we came up with that because Shane refused to stop saying gay. Like Shane is such a Midwesterner. Like he is so clearly a Midwesterner, and he's of the age where you can't get him to stop saying gay.
Right.
Like you step on his foot, gay. Right?
Yeah.
He's so, and we tried to watch ourselves and respect our listener.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't exactly. It was not you. It was Shane. And so that was when the idea was
Camaro.
Camaro.
I remember first hearing it, from the podcast,
Yeah.
and I was like, the first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? I was like, oh, I got it.
Yeah. And so I'm like, and you got to remember, like, Shane is a full-time 100% automobile mechanic that also is the front man in a band called Fistula. Right? Look up Fistula.
I don't want to.
Trust me. Make sure you put it on image search.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because it'll be a picture of Shane and then some shit you don't want to see.
Yeah, right.
But so that we
Blue
just,
Waffles open for him quite
yeah,
often.
I was like, he probably didn't have to get in line to get fistula.com. Right. So, but anyway, I thought it was hilarious that our friends, I mean, because yes, the Misfits are absolutely our sister podcast.
Sure.
There's no doubt about it. Like, I feel I feel like they're doing the same thing that we're doing. Not as good, but
The yin to the yang, right?
They are the yin to our yang. They are the yoink to the yeet. They are the
tell you
yoink to our
this.
yeet.
No, they're west. We're east.
That is and that is
But-
very much. They are definitely Santa Cruz. We are definitely Cleveland.
Left coast.
If they
right
come out
coast.
with that's a Camaro shirt, or that's Camaro shirt,
Left coast,
Yeah.
north
then we got
coast.
problems.
Bingo.
Yeah, right.
That might be our next shirt.
Yeah, that's so Camaro.
I'm just saying.
And just put a picture of Cam on there with a Camaro.
No, you just
Jacket.
wait. Doesn't he have a Corvette?
And a Mustang.
And a Mustang.
So that makes it even better.
Oh, you're right. He's got the whole Camaro starter set.
If a Mustang and a Corvette had a baby,
Yeah, that's true.
it would be
A Camaro.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. Get that kid some special testing. God, man. So badass as it is. Anybody else do any crazy good riding this week?
Just
we
to
wore
work.
the rear tire off of the RV 250
Oh, you did?
in New York.
Oh, good roads.
Nice.
Ah.
2 up, just hauling ass. Yeah. Fantastic.
But that tire didn't last long, or my speedometer reset for the second time.
Oh,
So you have
that
no,
one.
so the RV has no miles on it again?
Right.
It's brand new.
Yeah, it's brand new
Born
again. Twice.
Warranty's still good on this baby. Yep. What's the number that it flips over? 6,000?
6,000?
Something?
6,000 something.
Yeah. God, that's
It
such
has
a
no
weird...
7,000?
No.
No, when it hits 6,000, like 700, it goes back to 0.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Just for point of reference, Steve was up at in Speculator, New York this whole week.
Yeah.
With my beautiful wife.
Absolutely. Kit's here. She's in the background. She's actually brought her own camp chair and her little Oscar cooler. Literally has her feet propped up on little Oscar. Just like he likes it.
Because you need beer to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, well, especially
Need
being within
something.
spitting range. Yeah.
So I was camping in Wisconsin this weekend.
you were.
Oh, yeah, you
and
were.
I didn't take any motorcycles because the forecast was rain, and more rain. Of course, I got there and there was almost no rain. And the campground is in this area that is just full of off-road trails for ATVs and motorcycles.
man.
You can ride ATVs on the roads in that county.
That's too bad. I thought you were in jail in Chicago.
I heard you got pulled over with guns and weed and...
Well, weed's legal in Illinois, so
Okay.
I was good
All
with
right.
the weed.
You're good with the weed.
I did have 2 firearms in my car in Chicago.
Right. Now, that's not legal in
That's
Illinois.
not legal.
No.
If they're locked in a case, you still can't have them? Or
Not in
Chicago's...
They have to be licensed in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like you need what they call it. I think it's called a FOID card, federal something. Yeah, but you've got to have every credential in the world and be a cop to have a gun in Chicago because it's like fucking Beirut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Google Maps took me on a bad route with a highway closed for night construction, so I ended up on the south side of Chicago, sitting in an empty parking lot at a strip center, looking at my phone to figure out how to get back on the road I wanted to be on.
It was a band.
3 a.m.
3 a.m. and guns in the car. And the weed just kind of green lights them to check everything. It's not illegal. We're not saying it's illegal. It's, what do they call it? Non-criminal. It's decriminalized.
He was bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Danny Brown.
I had a similar situation one time in Detroit. I got lost and my GPS died. And so I got off, and unfortunately, it was an 8 Mile road, And it's the famous 8 Mile, and it is a shithole. There's like just fucking people walking around and everything like that. So I'm sitting there, and a cop comes up, and he's like, "You're either lost or buying drugs. Which is it?" And I was like, "The first one."
Your GPS seems to die all the time. Every time we ride, your GPS dies.
I don't know.
Are you using an actual GPS or just your phone?
Yeah, I gave it to Smith.
Oh, yes. Poetic justice.
That is poetic justice. Oh man, yeah, that's not fair. That's fucking unfair, man.
It works, and all of a sudden it'll just be like, "I'm not in Nebraska. Like, what are you doing, GPS?"
And this is literally just a standalone Garmin type thing.
Oh yeah, it's a Garmin. It's a Garmin. It's a motorcycle one. It's a
it's a
Garmin.
Zumo?
Yeah, Zumo.
Yeah.
West
Zero.
this way.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of those things you just know you're screwed. I bought a burner phone. I had left my phone at the shop, and I had gone off to deliver bikes in Columbus and other places. And I had made a commitment to be at a guy's driveway at a certain time, and I did not have enough time to come back to the shop and get my phone.
Right.
So I did what anybody who's me does. I rolled into Walmart and I bought a burner phone.
Right.
So I bought a burner phone, and apparently, I didn't know this, but yes, you can do an entire transaction with just cash,
Yeah.
and nobody will ever know who has that phone.
Really?
And then I because I was like, let's just play this shit out, because it wanted me to put in an email address, so I just used that phone to create a whole new Google account
Right.
that never existed before.
Was it a track phone?
No, it was a Motorola Go Moto.
Oh, Go
right?
Moto. Okay.
So it was a AT&T product, and it was all legit.
Yeah.
And the phone, no shit, the phone cost $39. Do you know how much technology is in a phone? Because I don't. This thing does everything. It does everything that my iPhone 10 does, pretty near. And it costs $39 to own it. Not a month.
Yeah.
To own it.
Right.
And then you go somewhere and hand them cash and buy a little card that's another month's worth of service. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you want to be Johnny off the grid, you can be pretty much Johnny off the grid.
See, that's funny because in Mexico, for obvious reasons, you can't do that anymore. You have to show your ID. They take your information. It's like, here's your phone. It's cheapest. It's shit. I mean, that's not the problem. The problem is you cannot have a quote unquote burner phone because it's used for burner phone purposes.
But they want to check your accounts, like if there's $600 transactions, but they don't care about burner phones.
Again,
to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Again, nobody's more surprised than I am, right? Yeah. Kind of shocked and amazed. But what's funny was before the thing lit up and like decided it wanted to give me internet service and make cellular telephone calls, what I realized is the GPS part of the phone. So for Google Maps, totally worked.
Oh, really?
That's a top tip.
Well, you know that. Well, like you can if you have an old phone that's waterproof or something, you don't need data service to use the GPS.
Right.
It uses satellites. The satellites are there.
Yeah.
So maps and stuff, if you download the map onto it, it'll work.
No, believe me. I mean, I was like, wow, if you are on a long trip somewhere, if you're going to be in Europe for a while and you don't want to buy a GPS or update your GPS for X number of dollars, dude, fucking go in and buy a burner phone. Just go in and buy a burner phone. And now you have a $39 GPS unit because it worked and it worked great. Like it gave me turn by turns and everything on its inherent internal map program. I was amazed that before it ever hooked up a cellular connection, it was functioning as a standalone GPS. So it was cool. And I mean, I achieved my mission. It took me 5 whole minutes to run into Walmart, buy that phone and run out.
Nice.
And I was like, I'll probably just return it because I'm sure it's going to be awful and I'm going to hate it. But no, I now have a burner phone that is going to be my official when I have to text people pictures from the shop and do all kinds of things that I definitely don't want to use my phone for.
Yeah.
That's what we're using the burner phone for. Yeah. Because then, people get that like, oh, I'm going to send you a picture of this thing and you use your own phone.
And then you're fucked.
And now you're screwed because that person has your number and they will never, ever call the shop phone ever again.
So for the $10 Patreon.
Yeah. So you have the
So that's
the
why you
phone,
sent me
your
a new
phone.
phone number to call?
Exactly.
Right. So you have your phone.
So I have my regular phone is here. The bad phone is in here. So the bad phone is a Google. The bad phone is a Google phone number inside of here.
All right.
So that's a Google Voice number inside of here.
And then the burner.
And then I got the standalone burner, which is hilarious. I mean, it's just, but it kills me for $39 fucking dollars.
That's pretty.
And it does everything.
And it's better than a 3-year-old phone.
Oh yeah, absolutely, undoubtedly. So it was like the other night I was like, what can I do with this thing? So I was like, okay, let's just download a free video editing software, right? I was like, this works way better than the video editing software I have on my laptop. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, and it was, obviously it's free, but again, that's $39 buys you a hell of a lot of firepower when it comes to a phone. Yeah. And it's also, the battery in my iPhone, pretty much get a day out of it, right? The battery in the burner's 5 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 5 days. Because it's not looking for shit. It doesn't. It's not expecting updates every 7 seconds. It's not illegally going online when you tell it not to, because it's a burner phone. Nobody gave it permission to do anything. Yeah, so it's pretty funny. I thought it was a hoot. But again, if you are a motorcycle traveler and you did, for instance, want to have some security when you're out in the world, you own one of these things. Hey, you're going on a big trip. Spend $30 and activate it for a month. Now, if you lose your regular phone, you got something right there ready to go, backed up. And if using a system like Google, you can still get your emails and everything else, and you can make phone calls and whatever. So not too shabby, pretty handy. I certainly like it.
Tips from Unkie Phil.
Another tip from your Unkie Phil. Absolutely, just for a minute. Yeah. So, in the spirit of my poor bastard, listeners that are living in other places. Would you believe that in Utah
Just trying to see.
they're already under the snow?
Yep. Denver too.
What?
What the fuck, man? Okay. It's snowing like a son of a bitch out west. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We were just there like
A week ago, it feels like, right? I was swimming the other day in our lake. It was chilly, but I was swimming in our lake, and it was fantastic to be swimming in,
October,
in the middle of October. So here's what we did. You guys may notice that we didn't talk about Manscaped. Right. So
I just put my name on
Oscar
my tags.
just put his name on his shirt, because there's no other
hasn't
reason.
been here for a
He
while.
just figured, he figured it'd be nice. Hello, my name is Oscar. So as you guys may know, this guy doesn't have or maybe it is electric. I don't know.
He went down and he came back, and now he's going back down.
On that folding
I think
bicycle?
he's still trying to charge it.
Oh, he's charging it. It's like a moped. You got to pedal it to make it go, even though it's electric.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a hybrid.
Type 1.
So we are no longer beholden or in any way associated with a testicular grooming product, right? And last week for our plug, we gave a shout out to John Del Vecchio in Cornering Confidence. You can go online, go to Amazon. I saw they had the book reduced in price. I think it was on sale. And if you're so inclined and you want to give somebody who who rides a motorcycle a kick-ass stocking stuffer, right? This book is like, it's a fucking awesome book. There's very few motorcycle books that I'm just like fucking goofy for. This is one, and it's $24.99 right now on Amazon's. So buy that fucking thing. You read that book one time, I guarantee it'll save your life. Right? Something in that book, if you like to ride a motorcycle, is going to save your ass. And if nothing else, it'll be much more pleasant for me to drive around you.
Yeah.
Because if you read that book, it makes it a lot more fun for the people around you who ride motorcycles than doing all the jankety shit that you used to do. Right? Yeah, trust me. Buy that book. John was not dicking around. When John wrote this thing, had it dialed in. So our new sponsor is, you guys ready? Mm-hmm. Cleveland Moto. Nice. We realized that we ran a business. We forgot that we actually ran a business. James today reminded me that why are we promoting
Other people?
anybody else? So what we're going to do is every week we're going to have some stupid deal. Like a deal that is too good to be true for our podcast listeners.
Huh?
We're going to offer one thing every week that is ridiculously good deal.
All right.
In the spirit of our poor bastard friends to the west, right, that are just dealing with snow right now, our first Cleveland Moto Sordic deal means you can't beat it, right? Our first Cleveland Moto Sordic deal is, and how long till the Misfits steal that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right. So
That'll be the rubber dick deal.
No, they will beat it.
the rubber dick deal shows up in the least likely places.
right. It's a subtle.
The rubber dick deal, you'll never know when it'll pop up. It's a lot. What happened? I just got a rubber dick deal.
You won't know about it until
Came out
it's
of
too
nowhere.
late.
What's this I'm sitting on? Oh, I've been dicked.
It's a deal.
It's a deal.
Cam will never participate in the rubber dick deal again.
So, no. Again, we love you, Cam.
Yeah.
But we love you. We love more making fun of you. So we decided, we looked around the shop today, and here's the deal. The Sordic deal is, if we're going to have a button, and the button is going to appear where you find this podcast, and it'll appear in the notes of the podcast. You're going to click on the link, and if you click on that link, we're going to sell the actual made in Germany, legit Cleveland Moto beanies that are embroidered Cleveland Moto beanies. We're going to sell it for $20 per beanie. Mm-hmm. But here's the deal. Free shipping in the contiguous US. So if you're in the contiguous US, 48s, lower 48s, we're going to ship it to you for goddamn free.
How convenient with the whole winter coming up.
And that's the idea, is it's getting colder out. You may want something to put, or if you're like me and you're in between hairstyles,
right,
you're going to put something on your head to hide that fucked up, mop you got going on. Because my winter shit hasn't grown in yet. So I'm still in that fucked up COVID haircut thing. So yeah,
I've had 3 haircuts cancel on me, and I'm starting to look bad. Dude. Well, worse than usual.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to the thing where it's not tonight, but for a lot of our listeners, it'd be a nice thing knowing that thing's coming in the mail for $20 whole for $20, and for $20. And if you think we're making any money on this deal, you're wrong.
Well, no, I mean, like, because you can know, like, I've bought a few hats recently, and the hat was like $15.
Yeah.
But then they slap you with $13 of shipping.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So
now it's $20 at your door.
All in. That's
all
totally
in,
good.
$20. Nice. And the idea too is every podcast we're gonna have another item, and of course to find out about that, we'll just go to the show notes and we'll have a link for you, and you can click on it, and it will take you to our spot. Now we no longer run an online store at our shop because the scammers got way too good.
Yeah.
Like the idea of us having an online store, which we did for fucking 15 years, they're so sophisticated. Like they got to the point where there was no way that we could discern from a purchase, a real purchase, and a fake, totally not somebody's credit card or somebody else's credit card being used to purchase something without their permission.
Right.
And it got out of control. And I was doing things like calling the people. Every single online sale we would make, I would just call them and be like, hey, it's this Phil from Cleveland Moto. Did you really order 27 NGK B70S spark plugs? Because it looks odd.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I ordered that. What's your address? Oh, ... Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Why do you need 27 NGK B70S spark plugs? Oh, whatever. And as soon as they fucking fly, as soon as like somebody's watching, as soon as they fucking got shipped, the money was yoinked out of my account. I was so frustrated. So we were getting our asses handed to us on fraud, and we don't sell a lot of shit online.
Right.
So it was completely walking backwards. So when we do these items, it's going to be super limited. We do them through an eBay store thing. So it's like, it's one click, you're right there. And those items that we're going to do are going to have special, absolutely no shipping. So that's it. And so we'll stack them up so that, if you blow it and you don't get the hat and we start advertising whatever the next product is, you can still get the hat. And if you want to stack them up, fuck it, we'll let you stack them up too. That's cool. So we're going to have certain items that we're going to come out with. And a little hint. The next one, it's going to be all about winterization.
Nice.
So we're going to be, not this podcast, but next podcast or the next one after, we're going to start talking about winterizing your shit.
Yeah.
Because apparently if you live in Utah and you haven't winterized yet, you're late.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, so I don't...
So Cleveland Moto, one word, right?
Cleveland Moto, all one word. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, at ebay.com, right? But
I want 38 beanies.
Right, exactly.
My name's Martha G. Smith.
Let me read this credit card to you. It says my name is Maria Rottencrotch. Okay, got it. Check.
Ivana Humpalat.
Sofonda Cox.
Yes. My friend Grace, first of all, is an amazing human being. I mean, she's a fucking rock star, right? And she's in Chicago, and she ran a food truck for a while. Awesome. But she got a fucking credit card for her dog.
What?
Her dog's name was Scooter, right? And it's just like this border collie mix kind of dog. And Scooter, apparently she'd signed up for a few things using the name Scooter Delcano. Last name's Delcano. And signed up for various things. And eventually, those credit card companies are so fucking predatory. So she went ahead and she got Scooter. Scooter had a pretty fucking solid credit rating. And Scooter had a credit card. Like, that's ridiculous, man. The dog has a credit card. That's and you know what? If I would have been in Grace's household, we would have rocked that card.
Oh, yeah.
We would have built that thing up to a good, solid 840 credit score. I'm sure in 10 years, that dog's buying a house. That would be a hell of a goal, is to get your dog qualified.
Right.
And
then never make a payment and be like, all right, yeah, there he is.
There he is. Take him to jail. Lock him up. Right? Take him away. Yeah. I don't know. He's totally irresponsible financially.
He's been crazy. He comes home, he beats me.
Oh, it's crazy.
Terrible.
Check the tag. It's his name right there on the tag.
It's right on his collar. Yeah. How do we know it's him? We chipped him.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, there's better ways to prove that he's Scooter Delcano than it is to prove I'm me.
Well, I got drugs coming to my house from my dog, Garmin. It's Garmin Cinch, and he has like his antipsychotic drugs come to him as
At
Garmin
your
Cinch at
house.
my house.
Oh my God. Yeah. So how many of those do you take?
No. I think they prevent worms too. So
It's a 2-in-1.
Yeah.
And your coat's never been so shiny.
Oh no.
That's fucking great.
My COVID went away really
Your
quick.
COVID got cleared up instantly.
I'm
You're
kidding.
good to
I haven't
go.
had it.
Yeah, it's fine. So kooky stuff.
Hey, motorcycles?
Motorcycles. We do talk about motorcycles
So
from time
you
to
said
time.
you were doing this whole research and deep dive a couple weeks ago on the Chinese stuff, right?
I was. Yep.
Have you heard of Brixton?
You know what? I have not heard of Brixton. Tell me more.
So this is
this spelled like Brixton in the UK?
Yeah, Brixton.
All right.
And they did that purposely because their first bike, I'm going to show you the picture here.
Yeah.
Let me know what company's going to be pretty upset about this one.
Oh, that's a Thruxton.
Yeah.
That's a Bonneville right there. That is a Bonneville. Yeah. That is totally a Bonneville.
It's 88 horsepower, 1200 cc's.
That's a 1200 cc?
1200 cc.
That's a fucking 12 Hondo?
Yes.
Holy
All you gotta do is look at the motor
shit.
case to know it's not a Triumph, though.
Because it doesn't have the word Triumph emblazoned on it.
No, the motor cases are ugly.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the 1200. I've seen these like 125s and shit.
Yeah, it claims a maximum horsepower, 85 horsepower, and 81 foot-pounds of torque. Apart from the engine, the GK1200 does get some respectable componentry consisting of KYB source suspension, Nissan brakes, Bosch handling, electronic assisted ABS, full LEDs all the way around.
The fuck?
And it's supposed to be coming in about $6 to $7 grand underneath a Bonneville.
What the absolute shit? And what model is that called again?
The GK1200. Brixton GK1200.
I mean, seriously, 1200 cc's is that kind of thing. You're like, okay, well, all KTMs under 900 cc's are Chinese now. Like that's just, we've grown to accept these numbers getting higher and higher because it used to be like all BMWs under 350 cc's were Chinese. And then the number just kept climbing. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a good, like Dan's right though. The motor looks wrong. Like it looks like the top part of it looks like an actual Triumph, and the bottom looks something else.
Yeah,
Does it have fake
The side
fuel
of that
injectors?
motor looks like they cut off the side of the
side of
gas
the gas
tank
tank?
on the
Yeah,
Husqvarna
yeah.
and glued it on.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Wow.
But this is
man.
interesting because in this article it mentions CF Moto and it mentions the other ones, and it says that they're becoming a really big force in motorcycles now. Like they're bringing it.
I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean,
Does
that's
it have fake carbs though? Where the fuel injectors go?
It's an 85 horsepower motor. No, it doesn't have fake carbs. It's got covers where the carbs would normally be. Yeah. Basically, this motor is a study in horizontal lines. So you're right. You're right. It absolutely does not have any of the attractive styling of a Bonneville. It looks like if you gave a child some crayons and said draw a Bonneville. That's what it looks like.
But the bike itself, I mean, like the metal and the body, that looks all okay.
Yeah.
Even the pea shooters and the wheels look like BMW GSA wheels.
And I just started to think that all the electronics are all Bosch.
Yeah.
So all the things that make it go or stop are all Bosch, right? So, or at least let's put it this way.
Spelled BOSH.
or probably Bosch made in China because I'm
no, it's Borscht.
Borscht.
Yeah.
Borscht. That's ridiculous. But that's one of those. And now that you did mention that we were looking at it, I did a quick dive on it just to find out who the fuck makes this thing, right?
Yeah.
And what I was able to find though is that motor is a company in China that builds fucking tons of motors. So that
So it's probably going to be a pretty legit bike then.
well, again, it's a company that a lot of names that you've heard of use to build their motors. So that's.
But I mean, here's the thing: it would have to come in. This year, I saw the W800 cafes, the Kawasaki W800 cafes.
Yeah.
Your buddy down in Cincy, the guy who owns that Piston Society or whatever,
yeah.
he posted a link to a bigger place by him. They were selling a 2020 W800 cafe for $5,900 new.
How much?
$5,900.
For which bike?
5.9, the Kawasaki W800.
Wow.
They were blowing them out for $5,000. So I'm saying this bike.
Wow.
I mean, that was a sale because they're mostly about $7,000, $6,500.
Right.
But I'm saying if they want to sell this thing, they're going to have to come in at around $6,500 or.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and that's a tough, and I mean, that's a very, very tough thing because, man, that is really, really tough for me to look at something like this when I feel like there's already too much. I feel like we're spoiled for choice. I think we've just got way too many options in this country, way too many options. I don't think that having this motorcycle that runs this Gaokin motor, Gaokin, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Gaokin is the name of the company. And they build a lot of motors. They build a lot of motorcycle engines for a lot of different companies. But I think there's this point where it's like you're going to have to get into this. Like that's quirky and weird. And it's quirky and weird, and that makes you like it because it has a name Husqvarna on the side.
Right.
But if that fucker said
Fling
poo on the side, or if it said, Raging Chicken, or, the Phallus Palace 401.
Or how about even Tao, who's kind of proved themselves to be
garbage.
Okay-ish garbage.
It's
garbage, but it's like it runs for a while.
It's
garbage.
a name people know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's definitely, that's a tough one because, we see some hate crimes go on with the word Tao on the side of them. Like, we do see a lot of shit coming into the shop that we're just like, I can't believe they let this thing out of the factory.
Right, right.
And it's clearly that I do understand. I've had people that listen to our podcast call me and they were fucking raging because they're like, you don't understand. That's not Tao's fault. That's not this company's fault. Some American guy said that was the spec to build the bike to. Some American guy said, this is what I want. Yeah. I want those brakes. I want that suspension. I want that frame. And they built it.
Right.
So you can't blame them for building it exactly the way the guy wanted it. But, so Gaokin, I looked it up, and one of the things that we always said, if CF Moto made a helicopter, would you fly in it? Right?
Right.
That was always our joke, was like, but Gaokin makes airplane engines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they make 800cc parallel twin aviation engines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which that gets, those are very, they're eyeballed before you're allowed to fly those.
Oh, it's
are they flying in the U.S. anywhere?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was going to say, because that's...
I don't think it would get an FAA stamp of approval. I don't know. I'm not into that.
I think they go to have a motor, because I was involved in the aviation for a little while.
Yeah.
To have a motor to be able to put into a plane, I think they have to have so many hours. Like, they have to prove...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that they've had so many engines fly so many hours in test planes before they can even apply for the fucking things.
Absolutely. And this Gaokin... There's a whole lot of motorcycles that are 500cc motorcycles that are running around with their motors in it.
Wow.
And they're a factory that builds motors. And those motors end up in containers going to other factories that put those motors into BMWs and shit like that. There you go. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's the big dick right there. Yeah, that's the big dick dude right there.
He had blue lights.
He did have blue lights.
So that makes him faster.
That was Team Blue,
Yeah, right on. So that's 1200cc Chinese bike is just when you get into that fucking crazy now. Yeah. That's just that's nuts. Because I know that I'm probably not gonna. I'm not going to go out and say the names of all the companies and that are using this company's motors for fear of starting a range war with our listeners. But suffice to say that company that built the motor in that motorcycle in that Brixton, they've got 1000cc V twins that are in bikes that you're completely well aware of.
Wow.
Yeah, and liquid cooled V-twin 1000s. And that helps narrow it down a
little
bit.
I would be impressed, though, if they paid the licensing and when they start advertising this bike, it starts out with dun 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 dun.
Yes, exactly. The Guns of Brixton? Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, and how could you not do that?
Right.
Yeah. But that's fucking crazy. Again, looking at the bike, I have zero interest in it.
Yeah.
Because it has no personality.
No, it's a Triumph that it's like it's a
Triumph that isn't.
It's a Triumph that failed to be a Triumph.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It just didn't be a Triumph.
Yeah.
It just came this close, but no.
And the thing is that there's used Triumphs available for lower money.
Of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so,
and you can go to your Triumph dealer if you need parts for it.
Right.
You're probably not going to be able to go to your Brixton dealer.
No.
Yeah. We've had a number of companies call us.
Well, I guarantee you, T-Rex and Menor is probably going to start carrying those.
Oh, yeah. Again. And T-Rex, too. We get the phone calls, too, where I'm like, hey, wait a second. You need parts for your SYM, and you're bitching at me because your Wolf 150 is sitting in my shop with a broken clutch cable.
Right.
But I'm not an SYM dealer.
Right.
Yet there is an SYM dealer, and I gave you his phone number.
Right.
And your answer was, fuck that guy. So if your motorcycle's at my shop because of fuck that guy,
Yeah.
that's a choice you made.
Yep.
Right? Because that guy's been in business for 15 years selling, and he sells SYMs. And I'm pretty sure. What's that?
Now Steve's mad, though, because he loves his Sims. You love your Sims.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the SYMs.
No, but I'm not going to go to some dealership to get a part for it.
And he also knows that with an SYM, you can get those parts faster on Amazon than any dealer's going to get you third party. You know? So, yeah, it's just a silly thing. But, you know, we are aware of that. And also, you could probably get a freaking.
I thought that was Chris Smith.
Me too.
When he walked by, he was not running, but the first time he walked by, I thought it was Chris.
He's got somewhere to be that.
Hey, speaking of Chris Smith, you guys want a Chris Smith joke?
Oh, I do. Bring it on.
It's going to be a little bit long, but it's good.
That's what she said.
Better be good then.
All right.
Did he send this to you?
Basically. No, I saw this today, and I was talking to somebody, and they go, holy shit, that's a Chris Smith joke. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to say it. So I'll do my best Chris Smith impersonation.
Does anybody want to hear a joke? Okay, then.
So this is about a lady. So my husband and I were dressed and ready to go out for a lovely evening of dinner and theater. Having been burglarized a few weeks earlier, we turned on the nightlight and then put the cat in the backyard. When our Uber driver arrived, we walked out to the front door, and our rather tubby cat scooted between our legs and ran up the stairs back in the house. Because our cat likes to try to eat our birds, we didn't want to leave him in there, so my husband ran up inside to retrieve the cat and put it back outside. Because I didn't want the Uber driver to know that our house would be empty, and I told him that my husband would be out momentarily. He was just bidding goodnight to my mother. A few minutes later, he got into the Uber all hot and bothered and said, to the growing horn amusement of the Uber driver as he pulled away, "Sorry it took me so long, but that stupid bitch was hiding under the bed and I had to poke her ass with a coat hanger to get her to come out." She tried to take off, so I grabbed her by the neck and wrapped her in a blanket so she wouldn't scratch me like that bitch did the last time, but it worked. I hauled her fat ass downstairs and threw her into the fucking backyard. She had better not shit in the vegetable garden again.
Oh, man.
Chris Smith joke.
Oh, guilty as charged. One of my things when our shop was in a less savory neighborhood. When I'd be locking up, because we'd hang out at the shop until 3:00 in the morning, bullshit and whatever. And so sometimes there'd be people, undesirables in the neighborhood, casing the place or whatever. I would always shout into the shop, "All right, Mike, I'll be, you hanging out all night? If you want to pull an all-nighter, that's fine by me. Rock on, man. I'm going to lock the door."
I can't believe you're benching 450 now. That's insane.
Hey, you don't have to clean all the guns. Leave a few dirty ones.
Yeah.
So
you're not supposed to leave bullets in the chamber, dude. Come on.
Why are you practicing with that machete again? What do you think this is? The apocalypse? Okay. So you guys know that a long time ago, back before COVID, I used to go to auctions, motorcycle auctions.
Yeah.
And I would buy motorcycles.
I remember that.
A lot. Like, I would buy motorcycles. I'd come back 7, 8, 12 motorcycles. Because auctions used to be the shit.
Yeah.
And then something happened, and I used to go to an auction. There'd be 2,000 Harleys, and there'd be 2,000 not Harleys. And it would be like an event. It was freaky, man. Like, it blow your brain up how cool it was. So I haven't been to one in a very long time because the numbers for these auctions, it hasn't been like 2,000 auctions. Okay. It's been, a little less. Okay. The numbers have dropped dramatically. So, but I decided, what the hell, let's go see. There's one coming up, and I'm just going to take a look and see what the inventory is because I'm curious.
Yeah.
So there's one coming up on October 20th. And the one that's coming up on October 20th, I was just browsing through the non-Harley Davidsons, right? The bikes that aren't Harley Davidsons. The bikes that, are not, right? First one I see for Meckelfresh, 2017 Yamaha SCR 950. Hey, no shit, right? It gets a 90 score, right?
Nice
so that
shape.
means it's in nice shape. That means it's a nice looking bike. It's the red, white, and black one. So it's mostly it's got the Yamaha old TT colors, right?
Fastest one.
Which I know you're partial to.
I like that one.
Yeah. Would you like to guess how many miles are on it?
13.
Under 5,000.
It's a 2017. It's got 30 miles on it.
Yeah, like all the ones I saw were going cheap and with low miles.
30 fucking miles.
That was close.
30 miles. Damn. That's crazy. And it gets a 90 score, which is fantastic for a bike that's 4 years old. So,
owner died on it. But not riding it.
Not while riding it.
No, cleaning it.
Died in the garage sitting on it. Which is funny that it only has 30 miles because it already has a tool roll on the front of it. So somebody put an aftermarket tool roll on the front of it on a brand new bike. Go figure.
Well, you know what? He rode that 200 days of the year, but he only rode it to the coffee shop that was 0.1 miles from his fucking apartment.
Now I get it.
I'm pretty sure that it was too extreme and it scared him.
I mean, a giant tool roll on the front. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was too much bike for him.
That's how I got my Z900. The dude bought it and was like, fucking A, nope, not having that.
Not having that.
And a bigger tool roll in the seat.
I have exactly the same tool roll in my moped.
Oh,
the back of it.
On the back.
On the back.
Yeah, big fucking, Big, could put a sleeping bag in there if you had to. So fucking cool, right? So the first bike I look at is this one. So I'm going to tell you, John, I'm going to be fucking watching this thing. I'm not going to go to Cincinnati. I'll participate online. Oh. I thought you got excited about that.
No, my knee popped.
But anyway, I'm not going to go down there, but I'm just going to participate remotely.
Phil.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll give the before. So we're going to talk about it next week in the podcast because the event, the hammer drops in 6 days. Which since our podcast is always a week behind,
it'll be right.
It'll be great. It'll be on time. So we're going to talk about. We'll talk about this item, in a week when we have the final price. But for people who are interested in knowing the facts are that according to NADA. Right? The clean wholesale value of this bike is $5,420.
Wow, that's cheap.
For a fucking 950 it is.
A new 950.
A brand goddamn new 950 as far as I'm concerned.
Miles.
Right, yeah, exactly. It has 30 miles on it. So the clean wholesale is $5,420. Now,
that's what I was telling you. I was seeing them for like $4,500.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're right. So very interesting. Just kind of blown away by that. And just because you were talking about it, exactly the kind of thing you want to see.
The big complaint is it's supposed to be like a scrambler, but it only has like 2 inches of clearance. Like,
there is some.
You're immediately dragging.
Yeah, there's some air under the back tire. There's like some space between the fender and the tire. There's about 3-4 inches in there, but it definitely is. It's definitely not. It's a cruiser bike that happens to be. Called a scrambler. But it's fucking cool looking. I mean, it's got the right look to it.
I've seen some dudes that like actually made them just more into like a vintage, like they kind of, and they can look really fucking good, man.
If you were looking for a solid first bike, that it's a little bit big, maybe, but but you wouldn't have to switch. It'd get you a few years of good solid riding. You could put 30,000 miles on it, no problem.
Totally agree. Absolutely, totally agree. So this company I work with, they keep track of what they sell them for. So you can kind of see how many have sold. Okay. And so this company in its history has sold 13 of these. It's a pretty good basis for determination. The average score of what they've sold has been an 82. That's not terrible. So that's the good thing because the bike we're looking at is a 90. The average mileage of the ones they've sold is 2,000.
Oh,
which is what it should be for a bike that's 4 years old. Okay, and the price they've average sold out at was $4,500.
Wow.
So yeah, they've average sold out at $4,500. So I'm watching this thing. I'm curious as hell. I'm keeping an eye on it. that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. Super cool. And again, something worth keeping our eye on.
Has the ratio between Harleys and non-Harleys changed at all? Or is it still...
It's still about 10 to 1. So it's
that's
still
what I was going to say, like 90%.
It's still unusually bucked up. It's absolutely this particular auction listing that's up is about they say maybe 400 Harleys. Yeah. And maybe 100 of everything else, including boats and RVs and side-by-sides and everything else. So yeah, it ain't heavy. It ain't, but there's some weird shit. I mean, just some really fucking weird shit that's listing. And that's because everybody's sold out of shit. Nobody has anything, and it's definitely absolutely a seller's market. So there aren't a lot of bikes making it to the auction because why do you need to put it in the auction? You can sell that shit at your dealership at home, right? You don't need help selling bikes right now. So kind of, if it's at the auction, that makes you wonder what the fuck is wrong with it. Like, why won't the dog play with this one? That kind of thing. But so there's some creepy shit. And the one thing that Steve will like is there's a 2022 Honda ADV 150. Ooh. That's that scooter. That's that adventure scooter, 150 cc's.
Right.
And so they got one of those at auction, and it's only 790 miles on it. So it's a brand new fucking bike with 790 miles on it.
That'd be worth looking at if
it's an 85 score. Yeah. So it's an 85 score. It's probably worth. So I'm going to keep an eye on. There's going to be a couple of things here that I'm going to kind of watch. That I'm curious about, want to keep my eye on. The things that I'm not so interested in, there's a 2007 Yamaha VMAX. But what makes this VMAX special is it's a trike.
Wait, what?
Yeah, somebody actually put car tires on the back of a VMAX. Not dark-sided, not one car tire. No. 2 car tires.
So it's a dark whited?
It's literally a VMAX with a car conversion kit. So it's a VMAX in the front, and in the back, somebody put twin CV joints and a differential to make it into a VMAX trike. Now, I know that we've often said that VMAXs aren't known for their cornering prowess, but let's not just fucking run it all the way off the fucking reservation. So it's a VMAX with a trike conversion kit. The point is, I would not have one of these at my dealership for the people that it would draw in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? It would just be like, no. So I see there you got the VMAX trike out there. No, you didn't. No, that's not ours. That's from Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. If we were working on this bike for you, I wouldn't let you park it in front of my shop. Yeah. There's no way I would let that fucking bike get anywhere near the front of my shop. And so there was a VMAX trike, and there was some other, other equally awful trike.
Frankenbike.
Fucking ridiculous. That's what I said. Even the weird shit. Now that's a Honda VTX 1300 R7 that they did a trike out of.
You know that if you let that shit start happening, there's a every day when I go to work, it's Target Auto down off of Carnegie and Prospect down there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And he let 1 or 2 of those
spiders.
No,
there's 7 of them out there now.
That's what I'm saying.
He rents them.
Okay, but it started with 1.
Yeah, it did.
And now they multiply. So like when you get that weird shit, it seems to just keep going.
He pushes them out every morning, and on sunny days you'll see 7 of them out there.
Yeah.
And so I'm almost positive he's set up like an Eagle Rider kind of thing, where he rents those.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought he was just like a modification dude for him or something.
No, well, I mean, probably has some of that going on too. But yeah for reals, that's happening. That's a real deal. So kind of, that whole idea. Would anyone like to, just for the sake of fun, try to tell me what the value is of a Triumph Thruxton 1200? I mean, that would be,
What year?
I think probably 2018. Let's do that. So 3 years old, 4 years old. Let's see what they give. Let's see what kind of numbers they give us.
85.
68.
Let's do one that's 68. So we're gonna keep it as a 1200.
6801.
We'll do a 2016. So we'll do a 2016.
Every time.
Right, 5-year-old bike. So 5-year-old bike, Thruxton 1200. We're gonna use the same thing that they did, for their deal. And do you think what do you think that Thruxton 1200 what that goes for at auction?
Oh, at auction?
At auction.
I'll say 7,500.
Anyone else?
8,000.
Yeah, it's $8,200. So it's $8,200. That's been the ones that they've been, the ones that they've been punting out. That seems to be in the ballpark of where they are. So that's interesting to me. So, you get these bikes are 90 score with about 3,500 miles is what they're showing. And yeah, $8,000. So that's
what are they new? Like 13?
I don't know. Let me see. Just give me a second. Yeah.
I think they're around, aren't they around 13, Dan? For a new one?
So.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. And that's, right now, if you look at modern cars, the average price of a four-door sedan in America is very close to $50,000. Like, insane. It's gotten real fucking high. And that's where, did the price get too high too fast?
Yes.
Right? They are, let me see here. Thruxton.
Certainly not keeping up with wages.
All right. So a Thruxton can cost you $13,000 for a 1200 standard, $15,400 for an R spec, and $16,200 for an RS spec. So that's a hell of a spread. $3,200 spread from the base model Thruxton to the fanciest Thruxton you can buy. But the point being, in 5 years, it's lost half of its value.
Jeez.
So that's kind of a shocking depreciation in 5 years for that bike to have lost. Because I gave you the number for the Thruxton R spec.
Oh wow!
So for that bike to have lost, that much money, that's straight up that lost half of its value.
Yeah.
So tough. That's a tough hit, and that's a bike that a lot of people. We see a lot of that bike around here because we have a Triumph dealer right down the street.
Yeah.
So we see more Triumph Thruxtons than probably anybody should. But it's a bike that Triumph has used to sort of show off the Bonneville brand. And I joke, for every Thruxton they sell like 400 Bonnevilles.
Yeah.
It's like, because people sit on the Thruxton and they're like, yeah, it's a little bit more than I really wanted.
Yep.
Yeah, it turns out I do have the back of a 50-year-old man. And I don't really want to sit on the Thruxton. I've ridden them and they're not that, But, a speed twin, a 2022 speed twin, they start at 12.5.
Yeah.
So they're only 500 less than a Thruxton.
And what about the Bonnies?
The Bonnies, well, just a straight Bonneville. A straight ahead, just don't call it anything but a Bonneville. I think they're 10.5.
That's a pretty good deal, I think.
Yeah,
It's a good bike. I like that bike.
It is a bike. It is a bike that we've said it's very hard to hate it.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to hate that bike. The T120 is just a solid bike, and but it does suffer. For me, it suffers from that, like, well, why did you buy your Bonneville? Oh, because everybody else did.
Yeah.
Well, why'd you buy a Bonnie? Well, all my friends had one.
Yeah, but also, if you're smart, there was a dude, like, if you look in the papers, just like you were saying about used bikes, this guy had the a couple, 2006 or 8 or something. They had some kind of an anniversary, maybe or 12, maybe it was like their 50th
What's that,
anniversary.
for Bonneville?
Yeah,
for Triumph.
Yeah,
they have anniversaries every year.
Okay, well,
so I'm going to tell you, I have been doing Bonnevilles for I'm kind of into this game for a little bit.
Yeah,
every fucking year, Triumph comes out with the Mayfair limited edition classic. It comes out with the Diamond Jubilee, the Silver Jubilee, the Queen's second brother's birthday Jubilee edition. Right? Yeah.
Well, this dude had one in Chagrin Falls. Yeah. I was serious. Like, I just didn't have the money, but 510 miles, mint, all the paperwork, everything, brand fucking new.
What year was it? Ish.
12, maybe 2012.
Honestly, there's no reason. You don't have to hit it on the money because
that's
they're pretty much the same.
So around
for a long
12
time.
though, but it's it's whatever old. But $5,900.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you ever buy a new one? You know what I mean? Like, there's those out
and
there.
That's what hurts. That's what hurts a lot of people. Like, I can tell you when I was selling Moto Guzzi's, and the Guzzi I'm selling you in 2017 is very similar to the 2013. Right. That's hard. That's a really hard thing to do. And we're like, no, but this is the stone rough.
Yeah, right.
You're like, wait a second, man. Come on. Yeah.
We added a 6-speed, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. We put in a 6th gear, but it hasn't changed anything. The RPMs at 60 miles an hour are exactly the same.
You just have to shift one more time.
It gives you one more thing to shift. It gives us the ability to brag that we have a 6-speed transmission. But we tested it. It was exactly the same RPM.
Really?
To the penny.
So it was not like an overdrive or anything?
No, it was exactly the same RPM in 6th gear at 60 miles an hour as it was on the previous edition. The Mark 1 is a 5-speed transmission.
Right.
So we took a Mark 1 out, 5-speed transmission, 60 miles per hour, pegged it 4,200 RPM or whatever. And then we took the Mark 2 out, 60 miles an hour, it was 4,200 RPM.
See, why don't more, I mean, unless you're like having like a race, like a sport bike or something like that, why don't most manufacturers make 6th gear just like an overdrive, like just a highway overdrive? You know what I mean?
Look at your gear. Well, look at your gear stack on your motorcycle, because some motorcycle companies, 5th and 6th, were both technically overdrives.
Huh.
So that gear ratio, when they come out with a motorcycle and they decide, okay, well, you know, overdrive is technically anytime the gear is higher than a 1-to-1 ratio.
Right.
Right. So there's a ton of motorcycles that have had where the 4th gear was a 1-to-1 ratio, and then the 5th and the 6th were both technically overdrives. But honestly, the term overdrive has lost a lot of its significance because nobody really keeps track of like, oh, well, my motorcycle's 1-to-1 gear ratio is in 5th, or it's somewhere between 5th and 6th, or something like that. Because honestly, in most motorcycles today, we have enough horsepower that we don't really need to have these overdrives, which help us limit the RPMs to give us this better fuel efficiency.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the point, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to cruise at 80 miles an hour at 4,000 RPMs if you can. You know what I mean?
Before we had variable valve timing or variable spark timing, Honda's solution was a dual range 5-speed transmission.
Right.
Throw gears at the problem. Like, oh, you got a CB 900, you got a CB 1000, but we want to make sure that it gets either the most, what do they say? The highest attainable top speed. It could be the fastest motorcycle ever produced, theoretically.
Yeah, on the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Right,
where you have
theoretically.
9 mile,
Or to be able to say, okay, well, we're beating the EPA standard if you put this bitch in high range in 5th gear. But if you're in 4th gear in high range and you crack that throttle, you are not going to pass the car. You know, it's not like, woo! Yeah, so it's going to be a little different. But yeah, for a lot of years, what was that stupid Shadow that had 4-speed transmission? There was an 1100, I think.
Oh, 800.
The 800 had a 4-speed. And it was like, shit.
And the 600.
Right. And our old Black Bombers, they had a 4-speed. It's the CB450 Black Bombers. They had a 4-speed.
Super Hawk
4-speed. They're just willing to run the revs out. And so just like this thing, if you're willing to, at 100 miles per hour, look down and see 8,000 RPM, and you're cool with that, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's with 6 gears.
Go back to my beef about the Africa Twin.
Yeah.
They have 6 speeds, but at idle in 1st gear, it's 8 miles an hour.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a fucking problem on a bike that's supposed to go off-road.
Right.
That is a fucking problem.
So why don't they lower the 1st gear
Right.
and
Absolutely.
then raise the 5th gear? And then everybody would be, or 6th gear,
6th
and
gear,
make
right.
it, everybody would be happy.
Because for anybody who's ridden a motorcycle in the dirt, the sand, the gravel, or the side of a fucking rocky hillside where you don't want to stall that bitch, like that gear ratio on that Africa Twin 1st gear ratio to me was like, Jesus Christ, if I want to go at parade speeds, I got to have the clutch in.
But don't most of the guys that are riding them really off-road, they're throwing about a 3-tooth bigger rear sprocket on it, aren't they?
Well, I mean,
Yes, you
but
can
that's what
change
you
it.
have to do.
Right.
But if I want to creep along through a creek or something, and I'm not, I mean...
But think about how many people bought an Africa Twin to actually ride it off-road.
But that's not the point. The point is that it's
you can't
not
design
usable.
it that way, right?
Right.
You can't design it wrong out of the box.
Right, yeah.
And that's really, I mean, yes, if you have the DCT, it's not the same. The DCT, it'll go 0.1 miles per hour.
Right.
You know, it will literally go slightly faster than walking. Right. You know, it's not like an electric, but fucking close to it. But you're right. The Africa Twin, I tried riding that bike around here in the parking lot doing impossible lock-to-lock maneuvers. And I was like, God damn it. I just couldn't let the clutch out and let the bike be unclutched. Yeah. I was constantly feathering the clutch to keep the speed low enough to do the maneuvers I was trying to do.
That's my biggest beef. I mean, I love that bike. It's a great bike.
I agree.
But that first gear sucks.
You know what the best first gear of any bike is ever, though? Is Johnny Chrome's RV 125. You can put it in first gear, and you can just like you don't even have to hit the gas. You just hold the bars, and you can go through the Mid Ohio swap shop with and it doesn't matter if a hill comes up or nothing. It just fucking goes up the hill. It goes down.
Yeah, of course. But I tried to drive it to work one day.
Yeah, that ain't
dumbest thing I ever did.
No.
I was like, look at this thing. It's beautiful. I got it running beautiful. Yeah. It's great. And that had the dual range transmission too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'd had the dual range transmission. I was like, okay. And the mechanism on the Honda dual range transmission is fucking robust. It's solid. It may be a plastic lever, but that thing is fucking robust. It's legit. The Suzuki one was made of unicorn farts. It was just the most like dainty piece of shit ever. Poof. And it came pre-broken, right? That's how Suzuki got away with no warranty claims. They just broke it at the factory. They're all like that. So I had to take the cover apart.
Oh, geez.
Right? So the very first time I rode it, that wasn't at Mid-Ohio. And that's why you got to be careful buying bikes at Mid-Ohio, is because you don't live at Mid-Ohio.
Right.
If you lived at Mid-Ohio, probably okay.
Yeah.
I had a blast riding that RV around Mid-Ohio. I thought it was the greatest bike ever.
Yep.
Got home to my house, tried to ride down Lake Road, and I'm like, here's me leaving my house. Bromp, 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 bromp. Now, that was before I got to the stop sign.
Right.
4 gears before I got 50 feet away. Pull out onto Lake Road.
The high, ace, and low.
Yeah. Pull out onto Lake Road, point myself east. Brap, 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 brap. 4th gear, looking down at the thing, indicated 35 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And every bit of the fucking RPM's just hating me.
Yeah.
Just hating life. So I'm like, oh shit, we got a problem. Turn the bitch around, and I know that I'm stuck in low range. I know that this bitch is stuck in low range.
Right.
So I pull the whole cover off, clean everything up under the cover, pull the selector out, make sure it's in high range, right? Put the selector cover back on, go out and do it. It does the same fucking thing. And I was like, you know what? When I'm putting the cover back on, it's pushing it into low range.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So I left the cover off so I could see it.
Yeah.
And I went out and rode it again. And I was like, no, that bitch is in high range. So I put it in low range, and then it went 12.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I tried to, and I was committed to get the bike to the shop because
Right.
I knew nobody would buy it at my house, and I didn't want anybody buying it at my house because the kind of people who come to buy RVs or what people call vans,
You don't want them to know where you live.
you don't want them to know where you
Yeah.
live ever, right?
How's it going?
And I fucking rode, I committed. I was like, screw it, I'm going to the shop. I JB welded the cover so it all worked right, made sure everything was cool, and made sure the high-low selector worked, even though I'm convinced there was one other position it had to have because 35 could not have been the top speed of this vehicle. This is a legit motor in this thing. It's not a 50cc. I'm coming down. I had to resort to Detroit Road. I've never done that. I've never committed to ride from Detroit Road the whole way from my house to here.
Oh, that's terrible.
But I had to ride to Detroit, and then all those places out west by Cracker Park, I'm going maxed out. I'm pinned. I'm waiting for the piston to jump out of this motor, and people are lined up behind me, giving me the bird and
The
beeping the horn.
Cayennes and the,
Yeah.
you know, the...
Oh, yeah. All the soccer mom assault vehicles, they're all just pissed off as hell that they can't fucking get to the, their fucking, Zumba class.
Cafe, latte, pumpkin juice or whatever they're drinking.
And they don't know that inside my head, I'm like, come on, baby. 1 more mile per hour. I want to hit 38. And I'm in a full tuck, pinned at 38 miles an hour. And the bike is just like, it is rev limitered out. And I got that bike to the shop, and I told James, I was like, fuck that bike. Fuck that bike. And when Johnny Chrome was like, well, I'd like to buy that bike, I was like, yeah. Well, fuck yeah, dude. Go right ahead. You can buy that bike.
It does have the world's most comfortable seat in the history of seats.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It has to, because you're going to be on it for a long time.
I think you and I were riding it together
We
down
rode it two up. Again, the gear ratio is perfect for Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
If you only live at Mid-Ohio, you've got the best bike, because you can go 4th gear at Mid-Ohio,
Yeah.
and the mud and the blood and the beer, and it just swims.
And you can start it, you can kickstart it in first gear, and it just starts driving.
Exactly. Oh, did it. Absolutely. Made the mistake one time. The battery was a little soft when we got it because we traded the trike for it, the Trizinger. And when we got it, the battery's a little soft, so I kickstarted it, and I kickstarted it in gear, and I was like, kicked it, and it kind of lurched forward, but then it just kept going.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, okay, all right. I guess this bike's an eager bike.
Like it literally, like when it's almost idling, it's just like ba 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 ba.
Right.
It's like every it moves the sprocket like this,
one tooth.
Yeah.
One exact tooth.
So like you can just go like ba ba ba.
It could be a direct drive engine and it would be fine.
It would be.
Yeah, it would just be okay.
Yeah.
It'd be like, how do you start it? Well, just give it a little push.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean give it a little push? That's how it starts.
That's it.
You just give it one push.
Sure.
And that's and away you go.
That's how I've always ridden my CT90s down there. You know what I mean? Just leave it in gear, get it on, turn it on, give it a little bump, and it just away you go.
I discovered that about the modern Trail 125 and the modern, Super Cub 125, that if you leave it in gear, right?
Yeah.
And you get on it and you just hit the start button, it'll just start. It'll just go. And it's just like blah, 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 blah. And like you said, it might as well be like a starter raider, Dynastarter kind of thing. It's just because the gearing on them is that low. Yeah. Fucking weird. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That was super cool nonetheless. Yeah. Very, very cool. Just coming back to that, you guys do know that Pete, No Komodo Pete, he's world famous now.
Yeah.
That's it. If you get American Motorcyclist magazine, if you're an AMM member and you get that magazine, you realize that shit has gone national.
Yeah.
That has gone international.
He's gonna be on one of those, like, you ever late at night and you're flipping through the regular antenna TV?
Yeah.
And they have like world's dumbest people.
Yes.
He's definitely gonna be. And in fact, I'm surprised we haven't got a call for the video footage that we have uploaded.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because if that were shorter, if that was just like a 30-second clip, that shit would be on Aussie Man already.
Yeah.
He would have already grabbed that shit. Because it's.
Oh no! Here comes the pork and beans.
It's dumb as fuck. I mean, legit, straight up. You want to talk about like dumb TV?
Yeah.
This dumb TV. That is like clickbaity shit. That is super clickbaity crap. Because the dude's head's on fire.
Yeah.
That's it. That's just it.
It was pretty cool that they also had the unicorn girls on
they did.
That
Full
was
feature of the unicorn girls.
Yeah.
Very fucking cool. Yeah. It was great. I gotta, like, hands down, this is my favorite episode of American Motorcyclist magazine ever.
Yeah.
Like the day it showed up, I peeled it open and I read cover to cover and I was like, finally, somebody nailed Mid-Ohio, but it took them 26 pages to do it.
Yeah.
Like every page of that magazine is another facet of Mid-Ohio. Like 2 pages, 3 pages, swap meet. 2-3 pages, vintage motorcycle races. 2-3 pages, trials riding. Hair scrambles. Like they gave each fucking element of Mid-Ohio, and then our page just says shenanigans.
Yeah, I love it.
Fucking A, man. Bring it on. If you want us to be Team Shenanigans, we are totally Team Shenanigans. Because that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Team Purple.
Team Purple.
Team Purple.
Yeah, that's Team Purple just pulled up out there. But it is true. When you think about Mid-Ohio, swap meet, racing, shenanigans.
Shenanigans, right.
Yeah, shenanigans. It's totally true.
That's it.
Yeah, again, sign me up for more. I can't. And I did, so you guys know this last week was Barber.
Yeah.
So all of our friends that, we have the resources to be able to be in Barber are at Barber. And my favorite thing that I've been hearing coming back through the, through the channels, through all the social medias, is that, I forgot this isn't Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
So apparently everybody went down to Barber coming down off their Mid-Ohio high. And they're going to Barber like, all right, let's do some shit.
Start it up.
And they're like, no, sorry, you can't ride that here.
Yeah. You can't walk on that grass.
Right,
Don't go there.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
And don't go there. No. You can't have a motorized vehicle in the swap meet. Are you crazy?
Right.
No. And you must only walk 2 abreast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've had a number of my friends who are just kind of like, fuck, man, I should have never went to Mid-Ohio. I'm ruined now for the rest of my life. Guys that had only ever been to Barber because they live down south came up to do Mid-Ohio this year because we dragged them up.
You know that, like, the difference between the two is basically Caddyshack. You have, like, the caddy party, and then you have the full
Caddyshack. You're not fucking kidding.
No.
Oh, my God. If you're like, and Tuesday between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock is caddies time at the pool.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. It's 2:01. You're out. You're all out. You're ruined. You ruined everything. You got to leave.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And everybody I communicate with is just like, fuck, man, I should have never went to Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
I will never appreciate, because the museum is a big part of it. That's why one of the reasons you go. The racing's great. The track's great. That's cool. But if you're going for shenanigans, there aren't any.
You might as well take the family if you're going to Barber.
That's true. That's a good thing. That could be a place where you could be like, look, kids, motorcycling is still wholesome. Yeah. There's not a naked guy. Right. Yeah.
And they have quiet time in the campgrounds.
Oh, I think their quiet time starts at about 4:30 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Piper will be so bored. She'll be like, "This sucks."
Yeah, exactly. Give me.
She had fun with us.
Where's my entrenching tool? I want to go burn something. Yeah. Here, go break this piece of wood. Right.
Maybe if she comes down, I'll bring B next year, and then they can have a little buddy system.
Again, that is the perfect environment to grow up in. Yeah. Because I know that people talk about like the free range parenting is gone. There is no more free range parenting. And I think it should come back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a school behind Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. And every day from about 2:25 p.m. till about 3:30 p.m., there's 4,000 cars.
Right.
That block up the street. We have 10, 15 traffic accidents a day because everybody's got to pick up little Sophia.
That lives right there.
That lives wherever, right? But these kids don't walk. Like, if I had a kid that went to that school, there is no way in hell I would wait in line for an hour and a half, idling my car in line for an hour and a half to pick them up after school.
Yeah, meet me at Smedley's, man.
Exactly. Walk over to the Mark's parking lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Walk that way. Go, whatever. Meet me a half a mile away from the building.
Right.
Because there's no traffic, whatever. And I think my kid can walk 10 blocks at 3:30 p.m.
Right.
I think they're cool. I don't think anybody's going to snatch up my precious little bundle of joy. Because first of all, I barely want them. Right. So if you want to snatch up, my 7-year-old,
right,
more power to you. Right. The dumb ones don't go for much on the open market. But your kid can't walk 8 blocks.
Right.
I mean, not for nothing, but my parents weren't driving me to school for any of it. Look, and I can tell you where I lived and where the school buildings were, and I didn't get picked up for any of it.
Yeah.
Once it became middle school and they were too far to walk, which technically it's never too far to walk, but that was the bicycles. Like, we all had the bicycles, and it was just a parade of bicycles going to school. We had buses. Nobody wanted to fucking ride them.
Nope.
A bunch of empty buses drove around my town because it was much cooler to ride your bicycle. It was much cooler to show up under your own power than to take the shame train, So you end up with the window lickers who can't ride a bicycle.
Right.
Yeah. Why are you on the bus? Why on the bus? You break your foot or something? What the hell's going on? Did you get hit in the head and forgot how to ride a bicycle? Yeah. Dope.
So a couple weeks ago, I was talking to you or I was texting you, and I said, "Hey, I got to get this fucking Triumph. I got to get a title for it."
Yeah, right on, man.
And you said, "Yeah, and I said, "Have you ever done a salvage title and converted it?" And you said, "Yeah." And then you said something that I was like, Phil sometimes exaggerates in a cool way, and this has to be one of his exaggerations because there's no way that it's going to be this fucking nerdy and weird. Right. And so what you said is, you're going to get there and there's going to be a state trooper in a fucking pair of overalls with his gun strapped on the outside of it and a badge on the outside of the overalls.
Yep.
And so I get down there, and sure enough, here comes fucking Opie with his fucking overalls on. The most miserable fucking dude I've ever seen in my life, hating every second of his job.
Look, the hilarious thing is, those are like our taxpayer dollars paid for those overalls.
Yeah.
And there's nothing weirder than a guy wearing like straight up, I'm the guy who works at the garage.
Yeah.
Pristine, pressed, fucking tailored overalls. Then has a bright fucking saddle shoe, shiny cork and leather gun belt, right? And then everything's highly shined like he's ready for an inspection at any moment.
Yeah.
And his shoes too. He's not wearing work boots. He's wearing those fucking Corcoran fucking shiny boots that, we wore in inspection in the Army to fake our way and pass inspection. They show up. Was I lying at all?
No, and the thing is I'm glad I talked to you because you said they're going to want receipts or parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the only thing that I'm not going to take a receipt for the fucking the lever switch and shit, because whatever, he didn't know.
Yeah.
But he said, so why was it totaled? And I pulled out the broken shift lever.
Shift shaft. Yeah.
And I said, a bike fell onto this bike and broke the shift shaft.
Right.
It's such a pain in the ass to replace that they totaled the bike.
Absolutely.
He goes, okay. And he took it from me and he looked at it and he looked down and, did whatever. And then he spent 30 minutes looking at the bike and swearing.
And he was the angriest guy you've ever met.
Angriest, miserablest dude. And then he came and he was kind of upset. And he's like, yeah, here you go. Here's your paperwork. You passed. Take this and get your rebuilt title.
Dude, that guy is carrying 39 rounds of ammunition, right? A high-capacity 9mm.
Yeah.
Like a taser. He's got the whole belt on.
Yeah, he does.
The guy's legit. He's got two. Whoa!
Nice catch.
That guy has 2 pairs of handcuffs and has never had to arrest anybody.
No.
Nor is there any chance he's going to when he's inspecting an RV.
Right.
That's the whole jam. I mean, there's nothing going on that guy can't possibly handle. Right now. John, if you want to loosen the lower crank and like take it down to its lowest level, or just straight up lay it on the ground. Yeah, at this point, the wind has kicked up.
Yeah.
But
I had to go through that once too. Those guys are kind of whatever. I had a Mercedes.
Yeah.
I probably told you this story. So I totaled my Mercedes. I pounded it out with a sledgehammer, put new taillights on it, pulled in there.
Yeah.
And it never leaked a drop of anything ever until it got into that guy's garage and it started leaking gasoline.
On his pristine white floor.
So the guy, they have a waiting room. You have to wait that waiting room?
Yeah.
The guy comes in, he's like, is that your Mercedes? And I'm like, yeah. He said, get that piece of shit out of my garage.
There you go.
That's exactly what he said to me.
Yeah. These guys are...
And he's like, here, you passed. And he's like, just get it out of here.
There's a sign in the waiting room that says, by being at this facility, you are acknowledging that you can and will be arrested for anything we feel like you should get arrested for. Right? And it's a sign on the wall that basically says, fuck up and find out.
Yeah.
The sign basically says, fuck around and find out. Yeah. Because it's like, if you think you're going to negotiate, if you think you're going to talk your way out of anything, there's a sign that basically tells you in 17 different languages, raise your voice, motherfucker. See where you end up.
They won't let you see the inspection. No. I saw him looking a little bit, and then the guy came over and he goes...
He shuts the window?
No, he shut the garage door. He just fucking pulled the door down on me. I was like, all right. Nice.
So I had a completely different experience when I got my RV inspected.
Oh, yeah.
In fact...
Whoa, go down again. Oh, just leave it there. Fuck it. Yeah. It's fine.
At the time, I had a badge, so I made sure I kind of
You made sure to open your wallet. I think I got some paperwork in here. Let me get this giant piece of metal out of the way.
So that may or may not have helped, but it also
always
helped.
Does.
But the RV never made it in the garage. He's like, where is it? And I'm like, it's right over there. He's like, oh, just come over there.
Oh, no. You got yourself some...
So he came in, he came on board. I'm like, well, he came in, so he's like, he's like, I like this thing. This is cool. I'd like to get one of these. Blah, blah, blah,
oh,
blah,
you
blah.
got professional courtesy.
I was also like, this is I just need to get a plate on this. Right. I'm driving it to Pennsylvania. It's a one shot. Parking it on our property there. We're never going to move it. I fed him a whole line of shit. Never started it. Never turned the lights on. Never beeped the horn. Never flashed the turn signal. Never nothing.
Never blew up the bathroom.
Never blew up the bathroom.
That's crazy. I even got told that my horn isn't quite loud enough.
Do you know what they call? They call that the dichotomies of law enforcement. That you just got dichotomied. Yeah. I'm
like, this is easy. I should do this more often.
I had to take a Kimco Grand Vista back 3 times.
Really?
It has one piston.
Yeah. What did they make you take it back?
It was a bike that got laid down and it got totaled out.
Yeah.
And so we had to replace 4 body panels on it. Everything else was cosmetic. So we're a shop. We do this for a living.
Right.
I go in there. I've got the title. I've got the salvage, the title that's branded salvage on it.
Right.
I've got the invoices with my purchase orders for everything, showing the part numbers and the prices for all of them.
And your dealer license.
And my dealer license and the invoice with the tax showing it was paid. Everything else, paid my $75 for the inspection.
Yeah.
Went in there, I showed up like you did, early, on time.
Trying to be courteous. Yeah.
Tried to bring him in. He's like, what the hell is this supposed to be? And I said, it's a 2009 Kimco Grand Vista motor scooter.
Yeah.
Is this allowed on the road?
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, you know, it's a motor scooter. He's like, who the fuck is Kim Chi? And I'm like, it's Kimco. It's the largest two-wheeled manufacturer on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I never heard of them.
Yeah, well.
Okay, buddy. And here you are, Mr. I inspect vehicles for a living.
Right.
All right, cool. Good enough. You know, your ignorance doesn't reflect poorly upon my vehicle. So,
meanwhile, like you know, from some of the rallies and things we've gone to, somehow some of these rat rods and shit have gotten license plates. So I mean,
well, of course, they had a clean title to begin with, or a clean title off of 9 other vehicles, whatever. They had 9 titles to choose from.
Right.
So pick the cleanest of them.
The 4 plastic clips that held the seat into the body panels.
Yep.
Which would fail you.
Yep.
It was like the SSR. So the guy got bent and he got drunk and he fell down and John took the spark plug wire off so it wouldn't start. And you got to bring it back.
You got to bring it back. I'm not kidding you. The guy failed me. And I was like, what on earth are you failing me for? And he's like, it's missing hardware. I'm like, where is it missing hardware? And he goes, underneath, it's missing hardware. I was like, it's not missing any hardware. Yeah. And it was on the opposite side of the bike from the side that got crashed. Well, okay, underneath the vehicle, they have pre-drilled mounting holes for other shit. For shit that this customer maybe didn't have on theirs. Right. Or for when they use that frame for a different bike in another country or whatever.
Crash bars or whatever.
Whatever. So the guy's like, yeah, it's missing hardware. And so I was like, literally, I was like, where is it missing hardware? Underneath. I was like, can you show me? No, inspection's over. So I was like, oh, fuck you, man. So I was like, okay, so since you won't tell me where it's missing hardware from, well, wait here, we're going to bring all your paperwork back to you. You're going to have to reappointment and everything else. So, of course, another person brings me out the paperwork, and I'm like, yeah, can anybody do me a favor and tell me exactly what hardware's missing? This report's incomplete. No, you failed.
Wow.
So I was like, all right. So I went back and I looked under the bike and I was like, everywhere there was a hole, I put a nut and bolt. So every single hole in the frame, every hole in the chassis, threaded, not threaded, didn't matter. I literally put nuts and bolts through and Loctited the piss out of them.
Sure.
So just put M6s through them with a nut on the backside, and so there was not a single hole anywhere in the bike.
You used all those crate bolts.
Absolutely. That didn't have a fucking bolt in it.
Yeah.
So I took it back, went to my second inspection, went through it, the same things. It's always the same guy. It's not like you're like, I'm going to go back on Tuesday when he's not there.
Yeah. I'm sorry you used the blue Loctite and not the red Loctite.
Oh, I wish he would give me that much information. So the second time through, he fails me again, and he fails me because the mirror was stuck.
Because it has the retractable mirrors.
It has the retractable mirrors. So he says, well, the mirror was stuck. And I said, what do you mean the mirror was stuck? He goes, the mirror was stuck. And I said, there's a button on the dashboard that folds the mirrors out. And then it folds them in. And if you get them out of sequence, just press the button and it'll catch back up. It'll just grab it from the other position, bring it back in again. He says, well, one mirror was in, one mirror was out. I said, it wasn't when I brought it in, which means you bumped it with your ass and folded it in, and then you didn't want to yoink on it to break it. So you just failed me instead. And I'm like, I said, curious. So I walk him out to the bike, and he's like, giving me the failure. So I walk him back, turn the key on, press the button, and both mirrors go, and I press the button again, they go, and they lock in. I'm like, those are folding power mirrors. He goes, on a scooter? And I went, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's how they work. But so I opened them up again, and I bumped them with my hand to show that if a car door were to open, or if the bike were to fall over, the mirror folds in, so it doesn't break off. Super smart, super clever, super awesome, and a lot of cars do that.
Super functional, apparently.
Super functional. Yeah. Can I get a pass?
No. Super failed.
And he's like, no, I got to bring it back through. Your time's up. I got another guy waiting.
Now, do you have to pay? Like, if you fail, do you have to pay that fee again?
Every single time.
Oh, my God, man.
Yep. So I was so pissed. So when I went back there, I made sure when I went back there that I did make sure I took my metal credentials. So, yeah, I blew the dust off my metal credentials and went in there and was like, yeah, man. I'm like, you remember me, the guy with the fold-out mirrors that weren't folded out or something? I was like, yeah, just here. I was like, yeah, I got my failure sheet right here. I opened my wallet and I had my old-timey. Cops know you can carry a badge, but then you can get this leather thing that has a blue piece of suede in it.
Yeah.
And the badge staples to that blue piece of suede. And it's the most god-awful thing. Like, you could just knock somebody over with this fucking thing. It's the most gratuitous show of badge you've ever seen. Yeah. And I pull this thing out and he goes like, you on the job? And I'm like, retired. And he's like, oh man, you should have told me that the first time you were here.
Motherfucker.
And I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You want to give me the pass now, buddy? Yeah. So I'll be seeing you again then, I guess. Yeah. So fuck that. So yeah, you got dichotomied. Good job. Hey man, look, don't hate the player. Right, don't hate the player. Hate the game. Yeah. Do you believe
Sometimes I hate the player.
It took me a really...
Johnny.
I'm sure that wasn't directed at me.
No. I will tell you, it was a very, very long time before I stopped carrying my girlfriend badge. Because like that whole thing of just like, there's these little things called girlfriend badges.
Yeah,
you can buy like a miniature version of your badge and give it out to people you love.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that it works all the time. It works all the time. But
it works probably better than the real badge.
Again, right? So
now that things are progressive, you guy can carry one too. Like, hey.
I had one of my girlfriend badges, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to carry around that giant fucking shield and shit. I'm not a cop anymore, but I'm going to keep this in my wallet just in case.
No, I bought Peggy a wife badge and the full wallet and everything to carry it.
Oh yeah, she's got a proper badge carrier. She's got a full-size badge carrier. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Galls will sell you that shit. Like the law enforcement catalogs are all too happy to sell you all kinds of creepy shit that is only designed to break the law. Because look, giving a badge to a person who's not a certified peace officer is illegal.
Yeah, right.
I don't care if it says wife on it or girlfriend or secondary squeeze or whatever, Believe me, when I worked at the department and they'd be like, oh, so we're taking an order in for badges. Anybody need any badges? I was like, I'm a new guy. I got my badge, says number 57 on it and everything. I'm like, why do I need more badges? And these guys were grabbing the order forms, lickety split. And the sergeant's like, okay, you need 2 wife badges and 4 girlfriend badges. Okay. Put the order in. I'm like, what the fuck is going on around here? The fucking hell kind of deal is this?
To your point, why do you never piss off a bartender? Because he knows your wife and your girlfriend.
It's a Friday nights for the wife, Saturday nights for the girlfriends kind of thing. Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah, that stuff, that was awful in law enforcement.
When I got my badges made down at, was it Novak?
It's Novak's, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I work here, but like, okay, what do you want? I'm like, I need another one of mine.
Exactly.
Another one, no sign off, no paperwork, nothing.
Bypass the whole thing.
You can order them from a catalog. It's called Galls. The biggest thing that they ask you to have is they would like you to put your order in on company letterhead. Company letterhead. That's the fact checking that they're doing in today's modern age of 2020. They are literally saying, I would like you to Photoshop a piece of paper that says City of Cumfuckery. And then I'm going to make you a badge that says I'm a constable in the City of Cumfuckery. Right. Yeah. Come on, man.
But wait, could I start my own police department on my property and just get like, Von Sinchenwager City fucking council something?
I used to work part-time for a police department that had 9 houses in it. There was a town that had 9 houses.
Nice.
And it had its own police department.
Timberlake?
As long as you're your own political subdivision.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the second in command.
Timberlake. I love Timberlake.
It was Chief Bob. Yeah. It was Chief Bill. I was Chief Bill and me. And that was it. And I was only there because my credentials for writing Ohio State Patrol crash reports were valid. So I could write crash reports, which is the only thing that ever happened in Timberlake. So Chief hired me so that he had a certified officer on the force so they could submit to the state to get tax money for traffic crash investigations. So when somebody would run into like the 7 trees that were along Lakeshore Boulevard, to get into this village, there's Lakeline and there's Timberlake, right? And those are the 2 that are down there. But yeah, you're exactly right. You know right where it is. Yeah, that's.
I always wanted to live there.
Well, it's hilarious because it's about 9 houses. Yeah. It's
charged up now.
Oh yeah, he's all charged up. He drove it around the block enough time. He charged it up. But you're right. That department is 2 people. There's 2 human beings in that department. And you know what's funny? No uniforms.
Really?
No uniforms. No police car. Well, Chief has a car.
So what do you do when you go to work?
You don't go to work.
Oh.
He's the chief of police. He gets to go to conventions and everything else and brag about he's the chief of police. But I mean, like, I think the highest rank he's ever had before that was probably mall security. But yeah, somehow or another, he got elected the chief. He probably ran and 9 people decided, he seems like a decent guy. He gave me a case of beer. He's chief police now, right? But he gets to say he's a chief police, right? Like he's a police chief in a city, right? But yeah, literally the police car I never drove it. It's his car, right? It had a little thing on the side, a magnetic thing on the side. And I would get a phone call at 3:00 in the morning and I'd show up, and I had a stack of OH1s, Ohio crash reports. And I'd write up the crash report. If anybody had to go to jail, Eastlake took them away, right? So we didn't
Did you bring your bullet?
Yeah, right. We didn't have a jail. We didn't have a facility to put them. We didn't have a police station. Wow. Right? None of those things existed. But we could write the shit out of a crash report. And we could write the shit out of tickets if you wanted to, but it was a hilarious thing. But again, when you're not a police officer anymore, you'll do certain things to keep your certification valid. Yeah. So that you are still hireable by other departments after you've left one, you'll keep keep the bed warm, so to speak, and you'll go to work for crazy little departments like that, right, that need somebody who's, in our case, OPOTC certified, or PATA certified. But it's just a stupid thing. It's hilarious. But again, you got a badge in your pocket that weighs more than your wallet.
Right.
And you pull it out and you're like, I'm a police officer and you're like looking at it to remind yourself, shit, am I in Timberlake or am I in Lakeland? Because when you would work at one, you'd kind of work at both. Because you could fall down in Timberlake and end up in Lakeland. Yeah, that's a real thing. Like, that's not even screwing around.
So at the bend of like 283,
it's where Lakeshore Boulevard makes a curve. And that one curve, and there's one tree and one telephone pole that get hit all the time. And that was the reason why they needed me. Was one tree and one traffic pole. If they would put a big catcher's mitt where those tree and that traffic pole was, I would have been unemployed. Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I would go in for a couple of hours, write a report, and I'd be like, Bill, I'm going to need $100. Here's $100.
Oh, really? Cash on the barrel?
Cash on the barrelhead.
Wow.
Yep. He'd write it up. He'd give me a receipt and everything else, and I'd fuck off with $100, whatever I felt like I deserved for coming out at 3:00 in the morning or whatever. Again, just because the guy's got a light on his car doesn't mean it's a sophisticated operation. There's no implication of like, wow, this guy must be on the internet or something. It was like, oh man, no way. Yeah. How did you know when the law enforcement officials got to that department? You didn't. Yeah. You had no idea. They were soberer.
Yeah, right.
They were sober.
That's it. Well, that's what I was thinking about being a cop many, many, many years ago, but I decided that was probably a bad idea when the whole point of wanting to be a cop was so I had to have access to the evidence room. This is probably not going to go.
Confiscation for fun and profit.
Okay, so this is the 10th time we've had a case, and there's nothing in the envelope.
No, how about this? You know what? It's weird. You need exactly 1 gram for it to be a felony.
Yeah.
And there's exactly 1.1 gram of coke in this vial.
Yeah, right.
It's a very big vial, right. And it only has exactly 1.1 gram in it.
It could hold 10, really.
But there's residue all the way up the side.
There was only 1.1 gram in the plastic.
Just, we're going to confiscate this, but only enough for evidence.
Look, they've multiplied. There's
they did. They went out and found a friend on their little electric folding bikes.
It's not going to make it all the way up.
No. It is fucking funny though. Those are truly, I think those might have 8-inch wheels on them, maybe 10s. Yeah, they're having fun though. They're white men of a certain age. So yeah, that's cool.
That's called. I got a DUI last week, and I have to figure out how to get back to the bar.
I think that's what that is, or maybe they're training for their next DUI.
Yeah.
They're like, if we do this, we won't get a DUI.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. My Aunt Charlotte posted something on her Facebook, one of those stupid things that's trying to steal your data.
Yeah.
That says, "I dare anybody on my list to be honest. Who hasn't gotten even a single DUI?"
Right.
And I was like, why do you need to make that being like it's such an accomplishment?
Dude, they're getting so blatant now. The one was like, what was it? Your mother's maiden name first thing is the first 3 letters of your name or something. Like, pick a thing.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
You're like, oh, okay. Yeah,
great. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, you add the last 4 numbers of your social security number together, and it gives you your porn name.
And be honest, no cheating. Yeah,
right. And I looked at my aunt post this thing, and God love her, she's an old woman who doesn't get around much, and she posted that thing up, and I was like, dude, that thing has 3.7 million comments.
Yeah. Oh, there's some dumb motherfuckers out there, man.
3.7 million comments
Yeah.
about whether or not you've had a DUI. Fuck you. I mean, first of all, the level of bait, has gotten pretty fucking low. The standards have gotten pretty low. Right. I'll bet none of my friends would admit that they'll stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right. Yeah. It's so terrible. I was on the Triumph forum called like Triumph Rat Fuckers or something
it's a
like
rat
that.
forum.
Yeah,
rat
whatever.
forum. Yeah.
And
Right at Triumph.
it's a lot of dudes from England and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
think most of their comments are like, "What happened to you guys in America? Like, what? We used to look up to you, and now
You
you're
guys have
answering
completely
memes."
lost the
Yeah.
plot.
That's what I keep asking.
Right.
What happened to you guys?
Look, I assure you, I 100% assure you that as dumb as the 60s were, and go back and look at fashion. Go back and look at what we were wearing in the late 60s and then all the way through the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
Watch a movie that was made, an award-winning movie that was made in 1978. Watch that movie.
Oh, dude.
You're going to be like, Americans were stupid.
Dude, I went
Right.
every once in a while since we work in Oba, I work in Oba, and I'll go meet these guys at the plant.
Right.
And so they were watching Pet Cemetery, the original one.
Doesn't hold up.
It's fucking terrible.
It doesn't hold up.
It's terrible.
No, it doesn't hold up.
Like a semi-truck flips over from hitting a 6-year-old kid or 3-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Or
Look,
2 or
You were
whatever.
Superman.
That's right. That was the origin of Superman.
You guys, when I was growing up, we had a 1975 Oldsmobile Custom Cruiser.
Yeah.
If you could make a car that was called Dumb American, that would have been the car. It had a 455 cubic inch engine.
Yeah.
Got 7 miles to the gallon.
It had 6 horsepower.
And took 9 hours to get up to 65 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It weighed
But it didn't have
6 or 7 tons.
It didn't have the window in it though.
It didn't have the Vista Cruiser one. That's like an extra $500. The Custom Cruiser has all the options. The Custom Cruiser has every single button that makes things go. The tailgate folded under the car.
It was
and
cool.
disappeared.
That was cool.
So you could load 4x8 sheets of plywood in the back. That's great. And then it had the seats that opened up so the kids in the back could look at each other's ugly faces going down the highway sideways at 70 miles an hour, getting 4 miles to the gallon.
The rumble seat.
Right? It didn't have the backwards facing one. This was cooler. It had 2 that looked at each other. So you could put 4 stupid kids back there. And of course, safety seatbelts not mandatory, safety seats not mandatory.
You know what's awesome about all those fucking station wagons from back in the day? My buddy had one just a couple years ago, and I was so excited to ride in the back seat, right?
Right, the way back.
So he's going, and he has to add the fucking lead shit to the thing and everything.
Yeah.
And so we're going down the road, and he put the window down.
Yeah.
And the fucking exhaust fumes just curl up
curl
and
right
then
in.
come right in.
Oh, it's the first best way to
I
kill
was
you.
lightheaded as fuck. I was like, dude, I got to get
If
out
you're
of this
going down
thing.
the freeway and you open up the tailgate window, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Especially considering 4 miles to the gallon.
Right, but then you think back to the 70s, and that was coming in that way, and then the dad was smoking up front that way. It was.
Do you want to know what makes you... I'm not going to say the word. Do you want to know what makes you test below where you should on a test?
Carbon monoxide coming through the window?
Lead.
Yeah, lead. Yeah.
Lead. You lick some window sills, you eat some pencils.
Yeah.
You do some of that stuff. But not fooling around.
Oh, that's an insurance claim. He just hit Steve's truck.
Man. I hope you're bleeding.
Steve's not happy right now.
Is it part of the video?
If we want, literally,
know.
the guy just crashed his bike into the back for the customers, the people who are listening.
I think he's caught on it.
The dude just crashed his electric bicycle into the back of Steve's high ace. Now
off from the bus, licking windows onto a little bike.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if
and there's the cop that should have just arrested the guy.
He just went out. The cop's going to run him over, dude.
No,
missed him.
that is not dangerous enough to get the cop involved.
All right.
But the point is, if you guys, like I said, we've had some spectators in getting involved with our podcast before late at night.
Yeah.
It's only 10:30, but we've had some people wander through here that were just like desperately asking to get punched, right? And we've been nice enough to let them go with not even a warning, but just a hey, buddy. Move along, kind of thing.
That should be on the camera too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the camera.
Hey, at least he didn't hit the camera.
It wouldn't be the last time that somebody crashed in our parking lot while we were doing a podcast.
Right.
That's a factual statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to get somebody on the spectrum real quick. Drive around an old car in the 70s with the tailgate open.
Oh, yeah.
Your kids are all going to need special classes.
He's going to be hurting too because that lever hangs down.
Oh no, he hurt himself.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely. He's going to wake up tomorrow in a bad mood.
Right.
But the best part
His
about
wife's
it,
going to think that somebody harpooned him.
the best part was he's like coming through, just a couple of drunk guys.
Right. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
wham
He
into your
announced his
fucking car.
presence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course, what do? Target fixation.
Yeah.
Look at the truck, hit the truck. So that's a lesson for you that you probably would have picked up if you read Cornering
Dude,
Confidence.
He had less than no balance.
No, he did. He was.
No, real quick though, that
Mike was doing all the work.
That target fixation shit is fucking real, man.
They'll
When
fuck
that
you
van
up.
like a week or two ago when I was driving to work and almost got murdered.
Yeah.
This van, 70-mile-an-hour road, just came into my lane and was coming at me. And at first, I literally, because like we talk about it enough that I actually remembered. Because at first I'm looking at it and I was going right at it. And I'm fuck. I'm like, so I looked at this thing down the road.
You physically have to make yourself look somewhere else.
Yeah, it's
you
fucking
have to
scan.
disengage.
You have to scan.
Yeah.
You've got to disengage. If you don't disengage, you're going to drive right into something.
Yeah, it's
because
weird.
whatever you don't want to hit is going to laser beam suck you into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. I watched a documentary. I love these World War II training films.
Yeah.
That these companies, Periscope Films, look it up on the YouTubes. Periscope Films has modified, or what do they call that? They have enhanced.
Yeah.
They've restored all these vintage military training films.
Oh, cool.
And Periscope Films does this one, and it's talking to fighter pilots about after you engage the enemy, you got to look away. Because we don't need you flying our brand new airplane that cost us a lot of money into the blown up chassis
Fireball.
of that Messerschmitt. Like,
It looks really cool when you see the films.
Right.
The guy flying
through the debris field.
But you absolutely don't want to ever
you don't want to
do
do that, right? And so there's a training film that physically says after you've engaged the target, after you've hit the target, after you're done shooting the target,
Right.
you must force yourself to look away. And that's not a bicycle. That's not a motorcycle. That's a whole goddamn airplane.
Well, they do that with NASCAR. NASCAR, they tell you to aim where the accident happened.
Oh, aim for where shit went bad.
Yeah, because then most of the time it's moving away,
Yes,
you know. And
exactly.
you're gonna come
Same
through.
thing with deer.
Oh, you know, why does lightning
aim for
never...
where the deer was?
Right, aim for where the deer was. Why does lightning never strike the same place twice? Because the place it hit the first time isn't there anymore. Safe bet. I think that's a good lesson to live by.
I saw a meme today. It said looking for electrician must be good this time, and it showed the panel, and then it just had the outline of burned feet by the panel underneath.
Guy jumps out of the airplane, can't get the chute figured out. Faster. 120 miles an hour.
Yep, done.
That happened to one of the electricians in
He's
the
hauling ass.
VFDs.
He's going down. He sees another guy coming up. He goes, "You know anything about parachutes?" The guy goes, "You know anything about gas stoves?" My grandpa told that joke, but there were accents involved. We don't tell it that way anymore. No, we don't.
Well, I'm Polish, so I can tell all the Polish jokes I need to.
Oh, again, right. Only
I'm allowed
ginger
to.
can call another ginger.
Right.
Oh, here we go. It's the ghetto bird.
Oh, is he coming for the guy on the
I
bike?
think he is. He's coming for the guy in the mopeds. Yeah. Although I don't know, he might be coming in for an approach. He doesn't have the FLIR. That's a meat wagon. That's Life Flight.
No, I'm telling you, he's went and picked up the guy in the fucking
Yeah, that's Life Flight coming in slow. Yeah. We do have a hospital down the street.
So I want to talk about strategies to keep your face shield from fogging up when it's cold out. So 2 weeks ago, during the podcast, I had my helmet on a pile of gear and it rolled off, and I cleaned one half of the face shield with a napkin that I had wiped Papa John's pizza grease off my hands with. And I did it inside and out. When I rode home, there was a perfect line. It was fogged up on the one side, and I couldn't see anything. The side with the Papa John's pizza grease was almost perfectly clear.
Get the fuck out of here! Really?
That's awesome.
Well, I did an experiment. I cleaned the shield really good again with Windex, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna rub the inside of the shield with a paper towel that had some butter on it, and then I wiped it off again. It really works. It's like it doesn't fog up inside if you wipe it with something kind of greasy.
Wow. Well, you used to have, and you haven't got them back, but that orange little packet, that shit worked fucking great.
Yeah,
man.
so that's a company that's actually from here in Cleveland, and they do it's called nofogsolutions.com, no fog, no fog cloths and that kind of stuff. And we talked about it in podcasts years ago, whatever. We'll say it again. Look this shit up. It is legit and it works, but it's really hard to remember the name of the company.
Right.
It's called nofogsolutions.com.
Right. And they'll say on the back, that you can use it 10 times. I used it for 3 years before
I was going to say
the
ones that are in my Tourmaster jacket.
Yeah.
I think I was talking about it podcast number 1, and that was 11 years ago. And I used it the other day. Shit still works.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, for $6, whatever, to buy this one baby wipe in a Ziploc pouch.
Yep.
What's funny is the pouch is so old that all the marketing information in the pouch is gone. It's still just a foil pouch.
Yeah.
But that son of a bitch, I pull it out. It still has that waxy texture.
Yeah.
All you do is you breathe on your shield, it fogs up. You wipe it off with that thing, you breathe on it again, it doesn't fog up.
Nope.
You're good for about 3 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, it's straight up, it's legit.
So I can tell you something you don't want to use Rain-X on your visor.
Yep.
Rain-X will make it fog up.
It does.
I noticed that on my windshield.
Yep.
And my brother gave me some like a little Rain-X bottle. I was like, I hate that shit. It makes my windshield. I'm like,
It fogs your windshield.
I didn't realize it, but now
There's a chemical in Rain-X that is part of that. Like, you're not supposed to use anything alcohol-based or anything ammonia-based on your Perspex or Lexan or plexiglass windshields. And Rain-X absolutely does. It's for car windshields. It's for glass.
Yeah.
And it is good on glass, but it is lousy on plexiglass.
even on my car windshield, it fogs up and it's just kind of ridiculous. I'm driving to work in the morning and I clean it off the window. I don't mind that there's some on it whenever I wake up.
Right.
But it instantly goes back. And I have to leave my windshield wipers on until it dries off. And it's,
but 20 is a
totally
foggy
agree.
fucking
but I love
road
that shit in the rain, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, it's literally fantastic. So, I mean, I've gotten to the point where I've got a bunch of those, and we'll order a bunch more for the shop. We actually do still have some inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do still have some inside, but it's very funny that is a product that delivers exactly what it says it does.
Yeah.
But apparently, Papa John's Pizza Greets also does a bang up job.
Nice.
Yeah, it does a very, very good job.
Wait for the red button.
That's exactly it. So super cool. That's a fucking top tip, man.
Yeah.
Papa John's Pizza Grease.
Papa John's.
You were fogging your shit up. Little Papa John's should be in good business.
Now, is it just Papa John's, or have you tried Little Caesars, or is there any kind of variance?
I tried a little bit of butter.
Yeah,
Just got a
still
tiny
works?
bit on a paper towel and used it on the inside. It worked. And
right.
it's still on there. It's not fogging up.
Ain't going away. Look.
Makes you hungry while you're riding.
That's exactly it.
You're licking your shield.
He's in the kitchen making a steak, and he's got his helmet on. He's making a steak, just giving it a good wipe every once in a while. Yeah, that's how that happens. So that's cool. Anybody else got anything else?
No.
That's fun. All right, it's cool. Yeah, that's it. So again, check our link out. We're going to give you a link to a fucking ClevelandMoto knit cap. Mm-hmm. Not made in China. Not even close. Embroidered, goddammit.
Yeah.
Embroidered. In a very stylish shade of black.
Yeah.
Right? It hides pizza stains.
Matches everything.
Yeah, matches everything with gold Cleveland Moto and Moto Guzzi right there, because we do love Moto Guzzis around here. That is a thing. And you can buy that shit and you can have it. And you can be as cool as that guy. Or you can wear the stupid one that says like the name of some, sports ball team. That'd probably get you in a fight somewhere. Nobody wants to be associated with
or your White Claw fucking hat that you just bought because you're drinking at the bar.
If somebody shows up in a fucking I paid money to have White Claw swag. Fuck you. If you pay money to have a Monster Energy sticker, the fact that anybody would ever buy, you can go online and spend money to purchase a 12-inch Monster Energy sticker for the back window of your Dodge.
How many people have tattoos of the Monster Energy logo?
Yeah. Only people who own Dodges.
Yeah.
I can guarantee that for sure. Nobody who has a fucking Saturn or a fucking Tesla. Yeah. That shit, those Monster Energy stickers, they only stick to Dodge trucks.
So I saw a roach in my fucking bathroom, and I'm freaking out.
He was wearing a Monster Energy hat, wasn't he?
Well, no, I tried to kill him with some Axe body spray, and he changed his name to Chad. And now he drinks White Claw every fucking day.
All he does is CrossFit. You walk up to him, he's just doing CrossFit all day long. Fuck that guy. Man, ride fast, take chances. Trust the pizza.